Tries to sleep. I'm gonna be streaming by myself. He's just gonna be sleeping the whole time. Hey everybody, welcome to yet another Sunday. Try to sleep in. We both been super busy with non-channel things, like basically all day, every day, basically, except for like a little bit here and there.
It's still for more days.
Yeah, for more days. And I am streaming tonight because I am not going to be here next weekend because I have to travel for work Thursday through Tuesday. So we're winging it tonight. It's gonna we're both like we're having yeah. I mean, I think we're both like really tired. It's just like for like my regular job right now, this is like the really busy time. But I have a freelance project on top of that has a pretty solid deadline of Friday. But I leave town to go on my regular work trip on Thursday. So I'm trying to get everything done. But still, it is Father's Day, and also my mom's birthday. My mom's birthday just happened to fall on Father's Day this year. So I mean, I've been very focused in a good way, like just getting a lot of stuff done in a very efficient manner. And I figured I'd continue that efficiency with starting one of my pledge games here on the stream.
Yeah, I'm actually going to be very interested to see how this plays out because I've never really seen that much of this game, but I've always been kind of like about it.
Yeah,
but I could see myself being kind of surprised, and then I'll be like, "Dang, I kind of want it now."
yeah. I'm surprised you don't have it. And this is one of those games that it's who is it? Camelot, right? Like that their visual style.
Wait, it's Camelot, really?
Yeah, isn't it like LandStalker? Same people who made would go on to make like the Shining Force games and stuff like that. Climax. Is it? But isn't it? Did Climax become Camelot or no?
I think it's related. I think
how are they? Some of
the same people I think left and worked on like Alundra and stuff, and like they made like another company.
Okay, sorry. Like I don't know why.
I could be fuzzy on the details.
Climax was part of the Shining Force 1 dev team. So I think that I get for some reason I tend to think of them as like all the same thing then, right? Because it would almost make sense. Okay, so. Yeah, I mean it's my mistake. I can't believe Climax was right there in my face the whole time. But I always feel like that is they have a very similar visual style. So sorry about that. Sorry about my incorrect information. They're both C's.
Yeah, I see. Frank Borst is not a fan though, but I can't help but read his comment in my head in Alucard's voice because Alucard is his avatar.
Yeah.
I just really like, I can't really do a good Alucard probably, but mech game. I don't like isometric platformers. You can be so frustrating / misleading.
Well, I think that's going to be what's interesting about this is I don't even know I'm not sure how if I'm gonna like it, So.
Yeah.
Let's.
It's kind of funny that you chose this for your list this year, and I chose Dark Savior for my list.
Well, I'm gonna switch over and just get started with it.
And while you do that, I will catch up on the early super chats.
All right.
From first of all, Tim Toast is on such a pre-stream streak here recently.
Yes.
It's a good
move. I think it's a good move to get the donation in at the very beginning.
You kind of get a little opening conversation started.
Yeah, I like that.
Saying good evening and happy Sunday to all. Have a great stream. My handle was created without considering pronunciation. Your pronunciation is perfect. Did we create the canon pronunciation for Tilted Toast?
Hopefully.
Yeah, that would be kind of awesome. I think that we had such power.
Okay.
And then there was also $5 super chat from Enchilada. Thank you, as always. Saying happy Father's Day to the dads out there, and to Try's dad and Coury himself as a dad. I hope you all have a great day. We'll have a steak in your honor.
A steak. Oh, I had steak on Thursday. Went to the old Texas Roadhouse. Not for this, but I'm doing a keto diet for a month before I go on vacation, and I've really hit that groove, and just at a good time. Also, I think, I don't know, you get really focused, mentally, when I'm in this state, and that's kind of what I really needed right now. Just, as a way, I need to. I've been just really struggling with dropping some weight despite working out and getting a lot of exercise. But then I did this, and it's speeding things up, or a shock to my system. It's getting things back into the place where it needs to be. And not only that, but last time I did that was in 2018, and I would be okay doing this, losing this weight, and then it takes me 6 years to gain it back. that is that's the kind of routine I can get into, that, right? Where it takes 6 years to get back, to gain that weight back.
You've accepted that you just can't stick with it forever, but
yeah,
that's a decent stretch of time, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. So I plan to do it for a month, and we'll see where I'm at when I leave for vacation.
There was also a $2 super chat from Dad1153. Thank you.
Thank you.
Saying happy Father's Day to Nellie and Sandy's proud papas. Sandy actually kind of irritated me a bit yesterday and today. Actually, she's part of the reason I'm so tired.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, she just out of nowhere, she just has been kind of weird about her sleep schedule the past couple of days. She did not want to, she probably wouldn't get into any trouble if I just left her free to roam at night most of the time. But every once in a while you might get sick overnight, and and then on those days I'm glad she sleeps in the laundry room. And so I have a baby gate on the laundry room, and that's Sandy's bedroom, and she's normally no problem with that. Usually pretty. She used to sort of resist a bit, it's no, I don't want to. But in the past couple of years, she's been very good. Just all right, yeah, time to go night night, and you just go in without much fuss. And then she's quiet all night. But sometimes if she does feel like she's about to have an emergency, she will paw at the gate, and I can hear that. And if it's an emergency, it's an emergency, But
when you gotta go, you gotta go.
For some reason, these past 2 mornings, when it was not an emergency, she's
Ooh, we got some life stock.
Not early morning, pawing at that gate, and it's like, you know, in that like half asleep state, like I sleep with like a fan on, and you know, it's like, wait, do I hear something? Do I not hear something? And then, you know, then there were times where she wasn't pawing at the gate, but like, you know, my ears like tuned into some frequency on the fan, and I'm like, wait, is that Sandy pawing at the gate? What's going on?
You're like paranoid now that everything.
It's like it's causing me like too much anxiety at a time when I don't need it right now, right? So I was just like, you know, sometimes when she gets in a bad habit, like I find that, you know, if like this has never been the reason for having her stay at my parents' house. You know, it's always like I'm out of town or we both go visit my parents, right? But I have found though that like if she was kind of having maybe some sort of bad habits, like, you know, being like a little needy or something, you know, I find that her habits kind of reset after getting away for a few months, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, since I was meeting my parents for lunch, for Father's Day lunch anyway, I was just like, man, I hate to ask, but can you take Sandy for a few days? So she stayed at my parents' house until I'm done with these crazy projects over the next
so
week.
Crazy.
Yeah. But at least that way, at least...
Look at all he's like laying there. It's like... That's how you're gonna feel after all this is done, right? I mean, that could be its own like emoji. Would someone just like make that sprite as an emoji in our Discord? Can someone make that?
That's my whole vibe right there, right now. That was a good animation falling too. There was like a little. It was just like a little bit forward, and then boom. But yeah, I thought, you know, I thought it would be nice for Sandy to, you know, maybe be hanging around some people that aren't going to be, you know, working all of their waking hours for the next week. And then hopefully when she comes back, she won't, she'll have forgotten that whole idea of pawing at the gate at 8 in, which is probably sounds like late for most people, but that's like, that's way too early for me to be waking up. I'm telling you. I do not go to bed at such a time where waking up at 8 is okay.
Bear on guitar, I am playing this on my childhood Sega Genesis, actually. And I'm using... But
you're not playing it with your childhood controller eyes.
No, but I am using a Nintendo Switch Online 3-button.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm not having any problem with these diagonals or anything like that. It feels pretty good, I think.
Is it like is like do you hit a diagonal to go in a diagonal, or you hit up and you go?
If you hit up, you go in that direction. Up and down, it goes. You know, you say I'm going up and down like this. And the same thing happens with left and right. And you hit a diagonal to change directions. So I think it actually kind of feels good. You like lock in then. So you only have to hit a diagonal to like change like what direction, if you want to go up or down or left or right.
But you can instantly change as well. You don't have to hit a diagonal.
Right. Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, you see I'm walking around. I think it feels pretty good. It does not bother me in the slightest.
Look at those big shoes.
I know. I mean, you see this character design, and you can see where it feels like a Camelot game, right? Or is that just...
I absolutely understand where you're coming from there, for sure. And like, it's like there's no way that this character wasn't, at least like on the American box art, like there's no way they weren't like trying to evoke Zelda and like get Genesis players to think like, ooh, this is like Zelda on my Sega.
It's a detox book. And a record book. Okay, so do I just check this on his...
Bear on Guitar was asking how the Nintendo controls are performing on latency. I hear people prefer 2.4G over Bluetooth. I mean, yes, usually, but I have not had I haven't used those controllers wirelessly with like other systems like you're doing, but like I've always been fine with them on the Switch, and I use them wired on the Mister all the time.
Mhm.
I do think like I saw like a list of latency and like the Switch Online Super Nintendo controller, which is like my favorite controller, period, pretty much. Like it was apparently relatively higher on latency.
Yeah.
I don't know if that applied to wired or just wireless. I feel like it might have been both to some extent, but it's never been a problem for me. Not in any way that I have noticed. So I like the feel of that controller too much for worry over a tiny extra latency to scare me off of it. I actually the other day, during a brief moment of respite over all this crazy freelance work, I tried connecting some controllers to the Quest 3.
Mm-hmm.
And, mostly because I wanted to play Tetris Effect with a D-pad.
Okay, really quick before you get into that, can I ask you, like, you wear your glasses in it, right?
Yes.
Have you gotten like lens protectors?
Protectors?
Yes, that go over the internal lenses.
Have you scratched them?
So my son, his glasses rubbed against it and made a little scuff on each side.
Nice.
And now I can't unsee it because it just like causes like a bloom and a little plate in.
Oh no!
So I'm gonna see if I can contact them, and because I would assume I've had it for less than 3 months. I feel like it might be still on some sort of warranty period.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see if there's something I can do about it. But if you go on like Amazon for like $30, you can get like these Zenny, like the people who like make the the official like protectors. They have like anti-fog protectors they just snap in over the lenses in there.
Man, that's stressful. That would
I mean, it's not. It's only when something's bright do I see like it's just like a tiny little bloom spot.
Oh yeah. Well, I haven't, but like I feel like my glasses don't. I feel like my glasses like would touch the lenses in the PSVR, but they don't in the Quest. It's actually been totally fine.
But I'm gonna contact them. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. It's just like it's
what I want to do though, I want to get prescription inserts.
Yeah, and those do the same thing though. They go over the lenses.
Right. So there you go.
Yeah. So you can just do that. It'd be the same thing. Yeah. And I think
I want to do
like
that.
the Zenny, whatever. That's not Zenny Max.
Now that you've scared me, I'll do it. I'll do it soon. I mean, for the most part, I've not been like playing anything like super intense, and like I can imagine your son moving around a lot more.
Yeah. I mean, he was playing
intensely than I do.
He was like played something called like Gorilla Tag that like.
Oh yeah, I keep seeing that. It's like the #1 downloaded app.
Well, it's all kids. I went on there, like I was like, he's like, can I play this? And I'm like, let me just check it out first. And really, it's just like kind of a chat room with people. And I immediately went on there and I just like heard some little kid just like saying like the nastiest stuff, like straight out of the ear. And I was like, listen, you can play. But if I hear a single thing like this close to even what somebody like that on there is saying, like you are never seeing that thing again.
Wow.
So, and he was like very like understanding, I think.
Wow. But yes, anyway. I wanted to connect some controllers mostly because I wanted to play Tetris Effect with a D-pad.
Okay.
And so I connected an Xbox controller, which mostly went fine. There's actually an option where when you turn on a controller, you can navigate. You like get a cursor with like the center of your vision, and you can like look around to like point at things and then hit confirm on the controller.
Right.
So that it was okay. But then I was like, well, I wonder if I can connect a Switch Online Super Nintendo controller. And it comes up, it says SNES controller, but it just like the the seeking thing on the controller just never goes away. So then I tried a Bluetooth M30 controller, which worked fine, although the A button was the B button, but just for playing Tetris, it wasn't a big deal. But the weird thing is, like, you know, the M30 D-pad is always considered like so good.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I was definitely playing better with the Xbox D-pad. Like I was making many more mistakes with the M30 than I expected.
Well, I mean, I tried like the cloud gaming with the Xbox, with the XCloud or whatever app on there, and use the controller that way.
Is that there's a native xCloud that you can?
Well, it's just like Xbox? The Xbox app, and it's just all it is like the XCloud.
So it's streaming, but like, is it?
Yeah, it seems
like
okay.
Somehow I imagine that like streaming within the headset probably masks some of the issues.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it seemed okay
compared to how
like
it
a little bit
your
that I played it.
Yeah. Interesting. I'll have to try that just out of curiosity. Although I can't imagine it really being that useful unless like you were like away from home and traveling with it or something.
Right.
By the way, Seasoned Salt says exactly how I taught my daughter. You can hear it, but it doesn't mean you need to say it. Works well, actually.
Yeah, exactly. And my son is like, I think that he hears this stuff and it like just makes him uncomfortable. So I don't think that he is gonna like repeat it. Obviously, you know. I think that it just like makes him like he's like
gonna reinforce it.
Exactly.
Anyway, I need to get back to super chats. And in fact, I apologize. We got caught up in so much more conversation because there was a $5 super chat from Bubba D. Matt, who says, "Can't stick around, but y'all have a good Father's Day. Got to get ready for bed so I can head to work at dawn." Well, I hope you haven't totally headed to bed so quickly. That you didn't get to hear it, but good luck with heading to work at dawn. That sounds this is a bit early for me.
Yeah.
But
and imagine
I think you're heading to bed at the right time for that. What were you saying?
I say if anyone ever says good luck, you can't not hear it in the Star Fox.
Good luck.
Good luck.
I also think of the police officer in Resident Evil 4, right at the start of the game, like when Leon gets out of the car, like he says it in a really weird way that's like almost a little robotic. He's just like, "Good luck, good luck."
I know there's a couple of other ones, but I see that like Sneak Creeper was asking a couple of times if we had played an emulator using frame generation with a program called lossless scaling, and I never have. I'm not even familiar with it.
No, I mean, I that's something that I can't, like, if we're talking pixel art games, like, I feel like there's no way that could work good. Like, I would have to see that and record it and look at it really closely to see what it's actually doing. Because, like, you know, a pixel art game, the pixels are on a grid. And, you know, there's no in between. Now there are with modern pixel art games, which I prefer modern pixel art games to stick to the grid, to respect the grid. But some don't. Some go off grid. It can be okay in some places, but I feel it's better to work on a fixed grid. And how is it going to accurately generate those frames when they're stuck on that pixel grid and there's like no in between. But yeah, I see Sneak Creeper saying works better on 3D games.
Yeah,
I can imagine that being cool. So is it natively running the game at a high refresh rate, or is it like leaning on like a DLSS frame gen or FSR3 frame gen? I mean, there would be some latency cost associated with that, I would assume, but I would imagine it still feels pretty good. You know, I'm such a console peasant, though. I mean, I like 120 FPS just does not wow me. 60 does. Don't get me wrong. 30, you know, I'm not one of those people who's like, you know, you can't even see the difference between 30 and 60. Oh, absolutely not. I tolerate 30 very well, but 60 is a huge benefit. Almost always worth it, you know, when the option is there. Though I can certainly understand why many games are not designed for it. You know, there can definitely be different priorities and visuals and gameplay that I think are valid when it comes to console games. But like the difference between 60 and 120 is just like, it's neat, but it's very much whatever to me. I feel like loss of visual quality to go from 30 to 60 is usually worth it, but loss of visual quality to go from 60 to 120, at least on consoles, I feel it's not really.
Yeah. And sometimes it's really hard, depending on the game. It's really tough to go. Like if you've been playing on 60 and then you switch it to 30, it's like, oh geez.
Yeah.
Like I tried out the Outer Wilds. You know, I was gonna that's not another one of my pledge games. I was gonna try that, and there's like a 60 FPS mode, and then in a 30 that's 4K, and I looked at it. I looked at the 30 after I played the 60 for a little bit, and I was like, oh my god, like it looks so it's so framey that it becomes like you can't...
Right, but the thing is, if you had started the game that way, you probably wouldn't really think that much about it. And that's why, like, I never even looked at Final Fantasy 16's performance mode.
Same.
Because I heard that it was not a good performance mode, and
I didn't.
So I was like, well,
remake with Rebirth either.
Right. Well, the thing with Rebirth is the 60 mode is actually pretty good, but especially with VRR, but it's very blurry. But you know, but again, I did try that. Like I tried the 30 mode a few times just to look at it, and it's that knee-jerk reaction. People aren't used to seeing the difference immediately back to back. And I think that's where a lot of the backlash against 30 comes from. But regardless, the point is 60 impresses me, 120 is very whatever to me. The things that interest me more with 120 over what interests me about 120 hertz more so than 120 FPS is 40 FPS, which I saw Kebabs mention. 40 FPS is underrated. And yes, I see you have a super chat that I'll get to. And also just VRR, specifically like low frame rate compensation VRR, which the Xbox does by default. PS5 has to do on a game-by-game basis, which makes PS5's VRR much less good overall. 120 hertz low frame rate compensation VRR is very, very good. It's pretty excellent. Even when the game's target is 60 FPS, it's very, very impressive. I feel like the biggest benefit of 120 hertz to me is the motion clarity. And I can get the motion clarity boost on 60 FPS games by using black frame insertion on the TV. So that's part of the reason that I don't find it ultra beneficial for me. I think also I understand the need for higher frame rates from the point of view of a PC gamer, because you're with for two reasons. One, you're more directly kind of connected to the movement via the mouse if you're using mouse controls. And also, if you're sitting up closer to a monitor, then objects are going to be moving more physical space relative to your point of view. Since you're closer to the monitor, they're going to be moving more physical space. So the object is going to jump like this, where it could be making smaller jumps at 120 FPS. Whereas on a TV, you're sitting further
Sorry, Chris
back.
Waters, I saw your message or your thing, and I'm doing my best, and I'll figure it out. I appreciate your help though. Just drop stuff in there, and I'll keep an eye out for it.
But yeah, on a TV, even if it's a big TV, like relative to your point of view, pixels are moving less distance. So I feel you get most of the benefits of 120 FPS, at least again from my perspective, by using black frame insertion, by getting that motion clarity. I just think that for console games especially, the compromise needed to get to 120 is just too stark. Although, there's games like Penny's Big Breakaway that can do native 4K 120.
Yeah.
So, of course, I'll do that, when I get around to playing that game. But
did you buy it, or no?
No, but, I'm sure I'll, it's got to have a physical eventually, right?
Yeah.
I will stream that game. Since you didn't,
I thought about it multiple times. I didn't really care for it.
I know you didn't, but I'll give it a try on stream someday.
Okay.
I really want to like that game because it looks like my kind of thing, but I do understand that the mechanics are a little. You have to. It's got a learning curve. Oh, Kebabs, you're right. Prince of Persia Lost Crown, I believe, also has 120 FPS, which I don't have that game. I hear it's very good.
I got that. I bought it for full price, and it's routinely $30 now, which it probably should have been when it released. But okay, now I assume that whatever button I hit will do something in that room.
Anyway, back to the super chats. Kebabs did drop $2 New Zealand dollars. Thank you, saying I feel like isometric games need diagonal D-pads. I can understand that. I feel a diagonal D-pad would feel pretty weird though. I never had trouble with Mario RPG, even though most of your movement is in diagonals. Mario RPG just does up is up, down is down. You move where you point. It doesn't lock your movement to, up is actually a diagonal, right?
Ooh, okay, so this thing's... Oh, okay, so she was meant to save me.
Oh, yeah, Sneak Creeper, you're also right. Ori games have a 4K 120 as well. But I haven't gotten around to...
that was supposed to happen, I think.
Playing through the second Ori game yet. And when I played the first one... What was the first one ever patched for 120, or did it have a backwards compatibility 120 on Xbox? I haven't played Ori 2 yet. Have you played Ori 2 yet?
I haven't played the first one.
Wait, really? I could have swore you were.
I may have started it at one point just to tool around in it, but yeah, the way things have been, I haven't had any time to play. I haven't wanted to get started in anything, and it's even when I sat down to maybe play something, it's I can't help but feel I should be doing something else. every time. So that's why I was like, I'm going to play this on the stream so that I can actually start one of my pledge games.
Yeah. Well, I want to stream Jack 2 sometime soon.
Yeah.
As well, because I think that'll be a good start. But I'm not sure if I want to start that like this month, or it might end up being next month, because I'm afraid of starting a game like that and then feeling like I don't have time to continue it.
Yeah, exactly.
Chris Waters estimates this is roughly a 15-hour game for most people.
Yeah.
For a game like this, that's not bad.
No, not at all. I mean, that sounds luxurious, honestly.
I mean, honestly, I'm enjoying what I'm seeing of this so far.
Yeah.
It does make me want to give it a more serious try.
Mine has the big old Electronics Boutique markered P on the label of the cartridge for a pre-owned.
Oh.
They used to have to do that where they put a P on everything so they knew it was pre-owned.
Yikes.
Yeah. It gives us some character.
Yeah. I mean, I like having like Blockbuster stickers and stuff like that.
Oh, Henry Clark, did anyone watch the 4 hours, 40 minutes Sega Rally Championship documentary that dropped today by Pandemonium? And I watched it during, like, I must have watched about 2.5 hours of it on and off yesterday while I was working. And it is, like, to be completely transparent, I asked Pandemonium if he wanted to be on stream tonight. And so we could just, talk about it. But I think that he's going to be on stream the week after next.
Oh, okay.
With us.
That'd be cool.
Because I knew you were busy. And I was like, well, if it comes down to it, like, I could see if he wanted to be on, and then it could just be him. Because in a way, like, I almost don't even want to, like, have playing games be the priority, because I just like to just talk to him about it. And then we could, like, maybe play certain games like as they come up.
I could play Sega Rally or something while y'all talk.
More time. So he's asked. I missed what he said. This game. It is a fantastic video, though. I mean, as all of his videos are, but it's just really cool because, every time he like ups the the content, just super dense, and one of my favorite things is his use of music. He uses game music a lot, but he also uses a lot of vaporwave trail, not vapor trail, vapor music. What is it, vapor? It's like vaporwave, right? Is that what it is? I don't know why.
That sounds like a familiar term.
Yes. And his usually his choices of music are awesome. Yes, and he just really I was very taken by this. As I was his Virtua Cop one. I mean, all of them. So
these are all games I could play while you talk about it.
Yeah, exactly.
I have these games. Some of them.
Am I doing something with this guy now?
I noticed that this will finally catch me up on Super Chat. Sorry about all the sidetracked conversation. There was a 129 pounds from Smasher Josh with no comment, but I noticed that Smasher Josh also just asked in the chat, why haven't you done more RGB 200 series videos? Mostly just because I think we just got freaked out by the expectations that are on them. I mean, that's the biggest reason, I would say. When people expect so much out of something, it kind of just becomes paralyzing. And I think we just build it up in our heads so much, like, oh man, people are just like expecting so much out of these videos now, and we kind of felt like they had to be everything. They had to be all end all, and now the reality is those videos aren't really be all end all anymore, except in terms of like the information of what you can natively get out of the system. And for some systems, there haven't been a lot of new developments and mods. But
should I head back to the town, or should I go back to that dude down in the basement? I'm mainly asking.
Coury says, head back to town and save at the church ASAP.
Okay. That's what I was thinking about.
You must be scared you're going to die.
Yes. That's good. I don't mind like some like guide posting or whatever it is, like backseat driving is what I don't know would be considered.
The way the slopes are integrated into this world is really interesting. Like it doesn't like it's weird, isn't it? It's like it's so like it's not like it's very natural. Like it doesn't. It doesn't feel like most isometric games where it's like, here's a 45-degree angle slope, right? Like it. Yeah. The way that it's laid out with the tiling and everything is just like so natural. It's actually very impressive.
I'm gonna stay the night first.
But yeah, sorry about. I mean, most people think the series is finished, but I mean, we always have intent to do those 200 series again. We want to do Xbox. We want to do PC Engine. We want to do Dreamcast.
Church stuff here. I think this is right.
PSP. I was, and Wii, of course. Like I was relatively close to like buckling up and doing PSP and or Wii before.
Try to step on the statue head. Use the dog and the villager.
Is it like an Easter egg or something?
I don't know.
Nun cheesecake, who I wonder if might be related to Nana cheesecake. Says, either of you guys try Helldivers 2? No? I mean, I hear it's very good. But it's like that kind of online game just like doesn't really fit into my life very easily. Like Final Fantasy 14 is like my one online game. I make that one work.
Come on, you can get closer than that. He really just doesn't even notice.
Do we see the Shovel Knight news? Yeah, like
I don't understand.
I'm not really sure what to make of it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there were a few pieces of news, really. One, they're teasing that there's going to be a 3D Shovel Knight game of some kind. Which I have to imagine might be developed by someone else because, unless Yacht Club is like expanded a lot, I mean, internally they're busy with Mina the Hollow.
I almost had him, and I got to do it again.
It kind of looked like you connected with it.
Yeah, I landed on that, but I think that
you just went too far.
Oh, there we go. A life stock. So I assume that's like permanent, like it's like hearts, essentially. Ooh. Additional hearts. Yeah,
I mean, that reminds me of like the hidden boxes in Mario RPG. That's always fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it's cool that they're doing this, like the enhanced version. it doesn't surprise me. I mean, you bring it to, it's not out on, it doesn't have native PS5 and Xbox versions, so why not?
Yeah.
Hopefully the Mina the Hollower isn't too far off.
Yeah. I mean, it's...
And I don't blame them to like milk it as much as they can, right?
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I mean, all the power to them. You know, if I was able to run a small company on one game for a decade,
that's how long it's been, hasn't it?
Like, dude, like, that's something to be jealous of. Like, you know, not in a bad way. Like, that success is impressive.
Yeah,
I'm happy.
I do understand what Kebabs is saying though. Like, I think it would be cool if they, you know, tweaked it to like make it have like a 16
right,
look. Like it.
Right,
I don't know, just like update it.
Like,
in
to be honest, like the only thing I really still care about is the main original game. Like they've added so much content, and I guess that does something for a lot of people. But like, I only ever got around to finishing Plague of Shadows, which was pretty neat. And then I played on stream actually the start of King Knight's quest, which ended up being a lot more complicated than I expected.
Yeah.
Like, it had this whole like card game subsystem, and I was just like, you know, I just want to play Mega Man but with Zelda 2 mechanics. Like, that's what I'm here for, you know? You know, so like I that guy left me and this could be an not entirely accurate impression, but that kind of left me with like this impression that like, oh, like all of the other you know, new game modes are going to be like overcomplicated, and like I'm really just there for that, you know, that goofy shovel fighting with, you know, Mega Man style levels, you know.
Yes.
Anthony Salter says Ratchet & Clank was what 3D Mega Man should have been. I mean, basically every
Contra.
Like every side-scrolling, like Ratchet & Clank is basically the perfect template for pretty much every 8-bit and 16-bit era like shooter, a platform shooter. I mean, that said though, Mega Man Legends is freaking fantastic. I you know, it's not like a super ultra highly polished action game necessarily. It skews more like a Zelda-ish shooter, especially the second game.
How many times does that thing save me? Does it save me once every time I maybe sleep at the inn? It gives me like a extra like attempt.
Frank Bohr says
hidden ladder to the chest. Where's the hidden ladder? Oh, okay.
But it definitely was kind of shoving it in my face, like encouraging me to do it and learn it on the stream, and I was just kind of like, I just, you know, not really what I was looking for at the time. But yeah, I mean, I'm very impressed that, you know, I mean, think about like they've been able to survive for. I mean, of course, they've done other things. Like they've done a few physical. I don't know if they like have published a lot of physical stuff, but like I remember they did. What the heck is it called? I don't even like it. Thought I would. The Gunvolt, whatever. Like the Gunvolt dual pack for the 3DS.
Yeah.
I do not like the Gunvolt games. But like I thought I would, you know, they look like a thing I would like, and I actually play them.
I think I don't want to go this way. I feel like I need to go to like that big town that they've talked about, because I can't even damage this dude. I don't really even want to try him.
It's a little scary. Man, you know what I just randomly thought of? I sure hope I have time to play Visions of Mana when that comes out. 'Cause I won't play that pretty bad.
Yeah, August 29th, I think it comes out.
Yeah, that sounds right. I pre-ordered it.
Oh yeah,
I
I'll probably do
pre-ordered
this.
that and Alan Wake 2. Oh, EB Chill hopping in the super chats to say, Happy Father's Day, Coury.
It's Father's Day, and I got my cake. Happy Father's Day.
So you said you went to Texas Roadhouse the other day. Was that like an early Father's Day celebration?
No. So my daughter was at camp all week. Like she went to camp and she was like slept there and everything. She was like 3 hours away. So it was just like my son was here and like, you know, like on my diet I can have like, you know, meat, like a lot of meat. And I was like, oh, yeah, that sounds like a really good place to go for this. Or for like...
I tell you what I love in Texas Roadhouse is pork chops.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. They give you a really good sauce to dip them in. You can get 2 pork chops. And it's less than the cost of a steak.
I thought that guy was going to kill me for a second there. I got really scared.
I kind of like pork chops more than steak.
Oh, yeah?
I mean...
I get it.
I'm sure I've talked about this before. Like I don't really see the appeal of raw or undercooked meat. And like, so like, I know that's like just like
raw meat
for steaks.
Well, no, I mean, you got to cook. It's not raw.
Well, but I'm lumping stuff like, you know, uncooked sushi and stuff like that as well. Like I'm just, well, I have seen like some dishes and like certain European countries or something where like it's like basically like raw, like it is like, I think like very carefully sourced like raw beef. 60 FPS says you are not a sushi person. Then, well, I have come around to like sushi, but like you know, it would, you know, I'm sure sushi snobs would throw their nose up, but you know, I mean, I like you know, sushi with like tempura shrimp.
No, there's nothing wrong with that.
A boiled shrimp.
I'm not super into like a bunch of sushi. Like I don't like shrimp, and you know, like I don't like salmon, so that like limits. Salmon looks beautiful. Like the color is like super appealing. It looks like I don't know. I just love that, like that orange look, but it like salmon just is the fishiest tasting fish.
I mean, I'm not a huge fish guy in general. Like I honestly don't have like a solid working concept in my head of like what different fishes taste like in general. Like it's just kind of fish to me.
I don't like, but
I like a good fried fish every now and then, though.
So, am I going to? Is someone want to give me a heads up, like where I'm going? Am I going to like the Swamp Palace, or am I looking for this bigger city? I need to rescue the girl first.
You know, it's interesting that this game has like cram dots, like so high up, like in that little.
Well, you know, the game is like extremely widescreen. I wonder if I could zoom this like with the Tink and make it like essentially like 16:9.
I don't. Well, I mean, you might, but I'm pretty sure the text boxes have occupied the bottom part of the screen.
Oh yeah, you're probably right.
So
I didn't even acknowledge that.
But
I like tuna a lot. I don't know. My favorite thing to make like on this diet is like egg bakes. I use like a cupcake tin, and I like get a whole bunch of eggs and I like whip them up, and then I put like brown some sausage, and I like fill these like cupcake things like halfway full. Put a little sausage in there, and then it's not in a cupcake. It's like just using
Bobby in a cupcake wrapper.
No, it's not. It's not even in a wrapper. You got to spray it with Pam, and then you put a little cheese on there, and then you cook them, and it just like makes like little like egg muffins, essentially.
Oh,
and that's like what I have for breakfast. I just have like a couple of those every day for breakfast. That's like my favorite thing, and you know I'm almost done with my first batch, like finished like eating them, and I'm gonna try it with pepper jack cheese tomorrow, because pepper jack is like my favorite cheese. If you could ever win concert tickets, like asking what is Coury's favorite cheese, the answer is pepper jack.
I like pepper jack, but the cheese part of pepper jack I find usually tastes a little plain. But I do like pepper jack.
Yes.
By the way, Chris Waters said keep heading southwest to the enemy village and sneak into
it. So I don't go this way. Am I going the wrong way?
You appear to be going northwest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you, Henry Clark. I like cheese to taste cheesy. I do like it to taste a little strong.
I don't know. Like I don't. As Chris would say, like that I don't like food, but that's not true. I just like I'm not like super picky. Like I like what I like, and it's like I never say like, oh, I wish this food tasted like something else or it tasted a different way. You know what I mean? Sure. Which is why I would never be the kind of person to like cook something and be like, oh, this needs more salt or blah blah blah. Like I just can't figure that stuff out.
No,
I've just never been good with that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I tried to take a cooking class to see if I could like learn something like that.
Oh, wasn't that like after you did that improv class?
Well, I was thinking about taking a cooking class, but this was just kind of a free thing offered, and it like I ended up only going a couple of times because it didn't offer any of that kind of stuff.
Ooh.
So is that being particular, or is that like is picky in particular like opposite, or is that
Zane's dad has a good point here. He says fish is the only food that's criticized for tasting and smelling like what it is.
Yeah.
Nobody says the steak smells beefy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I mean, I don't really like a strong fish taste either. I mean, that's why I prefer like fried fish.
Like beer battered fish.
Yeah. I've been kind of enjoying this place recently that I'd only been to once before a long time ago. I've gone a couple times in recent weeks, just a good old fashioned country cooking place. It's where all the old folks eat, so you know it's good.
That looks like Sonic. You know, I feel like is this the game that they dubbed, the EGM may have dubbed Sister Sonic at one point? Because the one girl looks like...
What? Why would it be called Sister Sonic unless they thought the main character was a lady?
I don't know. I feel like there was like They dubbed it
EGM
that.
Sister Sonic. I'm gonna Google this.
Oh, that was Popful Mail. Okay, all right.
Sister Sonic, lost build of canceled Sonic the Hedgehog localization of Popful Mail.
Okay.
Wait, was it actually called Sister Sonic?
Maybe at one point. So am I getting out of here?
This article makes it sound like it could have been. Sister Sonic was going to be a full remake of Popful Mail by Nihon Falcom, with the cast of characters being replaced with Sonic characters.
Can I...
Sister Sonic.
Can I get in this way, or should I go a different way?
I mean, this is a sneaking mission.
It is.
There's more than one way to accomplish a sneaking mission.
So, speaking of which, what I did do today, despite the fact that like I've been busy with various stuff, is that I went to see a friend of mine, another dad friend, and myself went to see Furiosa.
Oh. Was it good?
It was very good. And I want you to Google this because there's a guy on that. His name is Praetor Jack. That he like looks like Solid Snake.
Oh.
He like looks like he looks like Solid Snake. Just like look it up. He has like it's like Praetor Jack,
Oh.
Jack.
Praetorian Jack.
Oh, Praetorian Jack, yeah. But he has like the grease on his head. It almost looks like the bandana and everything. It's like if they're gonna make a Metal Gear movie, they should get that guy.
Oh yeah. Well, like, okay, like the paint on his forehead is like just Snake's bandana.
Yeah, but like if you look at his outfit too, like it almost looks like the sneaking suit from Solid.
Well, and like just like his face, his hair, his beard,
right?
Like everything. He's just Solid Snake.
Right.
Right.
I mean, I feel like he had to have been inspired because I don't know if George Miller and Kojima are like friends or if they become friends.
Well, I think I saw a video of them like hugging at some event or something.
Yes, but I think that's only since this has come out. I don't know if they knew each other before.
That's kind of interesting.
But the movie is great. It's really good. I did not feel as though I was unsure at first because I didn't know if it was going to be worth it. I guess like to have like if it's like a story that needed to be told or whatever. But I felt like it had a couple of like I don't know, like it has some weirdness in terms of like timeline or what. I cost you 206 golds. I don't want to know. Go back to the village and okay. Yeah, the audio was great. Just I don't know. I thought it. Oh.
I mean, the audio in Fury Road was good. You know, Fury Road is actually the first UHD Blu-ray I ever bought because I think it was just like super cheap on Black Friday, and I was like, well, I want to see what a UHD Blu-ray is like. I mean, this was like back after I got my Xbox One X, right?
Yeah.
Because it was like the only thing I had that could play UHD Blu-rays. I'm like, well, so I bought it because I'm like, well, I want to see that anyway. And I bet that looks real good.
Yeah. I thought it was really good though. I was unsure of how much it would add, but it does a lot of really interesting world building, I think. Just like in general, like it kind of shows these different factions and how life is going out there. And it's also it's almost kind of funny because like the main villain in it, Dementus, is kind of an idiot.
I mean, that's always fun.
Yeah, I mean he's like I don't know, he's just, like he's just kind of an idiot. I don't know how to like better explain it.
You know, this is probably a weird take, but the 4 Mad Max movies up to this point, I haven't seen this new one, but I probably like each one progressively more than the previous one.
Mm-hmm.
Like I need to revisit Mad Max 2, but I didn't love it. The 1 or 2 times I've
the first one?
It's been a while. Well, the first 2, okay. Mad Max 2 is like considered like so iconic and
I mean it's
so influential. I mean, basically every like post-apocalyptic wasteland is inspired by it.
Right.
But I just at the time, it's been a long time since I saw it, but at the time I just didn't really get into it. I think I watched it a second time, and I think I liked it more the second time, but Beyond Thunderdome is like not that well regarded, and I kind of immediately loved it. Like I love like the super weird dialect that the children have.
Yeah.
Like I think a lot of people like kind of dislike it for the same reason, Return of the Jedi got flack when it first released, because
right.
Oh,
it's like
all these cute little Ewoks. And then, same thing with Mad Max. It's like, oh, so much of the movie focuses on these kids. Well, like, I thought the way that I normally don't really like a bunch of kids in movies either, but the way they portrayed them was so compelling, I thought.
So can I sell this thing? The idol? Is that what I can do? Is like sell it and... what's kind of cool is that there seems to be like a lot of little things that you can miss, but you're like rewarded for trying out like different things, I guess. So this way, okay. Closed away. So what does the stone idol do?
Why didn't you buy that extra life thing? I mean, you had enough money for it, or
oh, Ikis are these, right? Yeah, buy a bunch of them. Oh, okay, I can buy a lot of them. So I just go in and out.
How stranger? Iki. So wait, was the Iki? What you gained?
That's the thing. That's the thing that revives me after I die.
Oh. I don't understand why you wouldn't want to buy that big heart though. You had enough money for it.
But it would have been all of my money.
Well, sure, but I mean, health upgrade seems almost always worth it.
But it's just 1 point. I'd rather be revived at full health multiple times than just having a single extra. Just like use all of my money on it? Buy like 10 of these. Okay. So you can make it a lot easier on yourself if you want.
Yeah.
But that Furiosa did not do well, I guess. So that'll probably be.
Well, I mean, I think I heard that summer movies haven't really hit it this year yet.
Yeah.
In terms of success.
Right. So did you end up using that sale to, like the Amazon buy one get one 50% off from that list? Like, what games and movies did you like end up getting through there?
I did get some things.
I got like several movies.
Probably spent some more than I should. Now, I don't know if this actually. I don't know if this actually was how I had to do it, but it made sense to me. Or I just like ordered them in pairs because I was like, well, if I order like 6 movies, then I'm going to get 50% off.
Oh yeah, I mean, I bought like 10 movies.
So I ordered them in pairs, like the 2 most expensive, then the 3 middle price, and then the 2 cheapest, like that.
Yeah,
a logic tracks out, right? I think.
Yeah, it makes sense. Well, I mean, you can just add them all to your cart, and you get 50% off of like basically everything. Or I did them all, like I did them in 2 batches. But
right. Well, anyway, before I get into that, there was a $4.99 from Joshua Helmke. Thank you, saying, "Why is the main character of this game yellow? Why? I mean, is he? I mean, maybe you need to check your screen calibration because this looks like a pretty.
It's these flesh
natural.
tones.
Yeah, it looks like a pretty natural skin tone to me, to be honest. The hay roofs, those are yellow.
He's afraid. What are you, yellow? Nobody calls me yellow.
I mean, to be fair, his hair color is basically the same shade as his skin, which obviously his hair is supposed to be blonde, but I don't know. I don't see it that way personally.
I gotta do more voice acting. I don't know about that. I can do a very small amount of voice acting. Look at this dog. It says bow wow. It says bow wow wow yippee yo yippee yay. Death row is in the house.
Anyway, I didn't see a lot that I wanted on the list of games.
Yeah.
So I didn't really get a crazy deal.
I almost got that Ninja Turtles. I've been eyeing that Ninja Turtles just because.
Which Ninja Turtle?
That 2003 arcade game, or like that one arcade game that came out and then just like randomly got ported recently.
Oh yeah.
It has like the 2003 version of the Turtles in it.
I feel like I heard it wasn't very good. Or
I think it's fine. It's just is completely bare bones, I guess.
Yeah.
And it's always annoying when a game is made by a developer called Game Mill. It makes it feels like
yes, like
cheap.
Yeah, it's just like just churning them out.
Yeah.
Where have I heard of Game Mill from?
Did Game Mill do that that really bad looking Walking Dead game, like the Destinies or something like that? That looks like it looks so
I've gone
bad.
to I've gone to Game Mill's website. They have done Nickelodeon Kart Racers 3. NHRA Speed Drag Racing Speed for All, Little League World Series 2022, Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl.
Okay.
Nerf Legends. Oh, they published Cruise and Blast.
Okay.
That's where I've heard of them before. Oh, G.I. Joe Operation Blackout, your son's favorite game ever.
Yeah. Did he?
Cobra Kai.
Assuredly has not thought about it since.
Yeah. But he was, at the time, he was just like, this is the greatest game of all time.
Yeah.
Goosebumps game. Several Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network licensed things. Country Dance All-Stars.
Ooh, oh, that's... So like line dancing all-stars? Like, why did I call it?
Oh, this must be real old because this screenshot definitely looks like Wii Remote A and B button prompts. Oh man, so their logo is like 2 gears.
Yeah.
And on this Country Dance All-Stars page, well, I think it might be this way on their other pages too. Like there's like 2 gears that turn as you scroll down the page. Very fancy. But yeah, Game Mill is just like the most ill-conceived name for a game company ever, for sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, I got Persona 3 Reload, which was like $40, which I was actually surprised to see that low already.
Yeah,
that's a $70 game.
Yeah, well, I got both that and Yakuza 8, like for 40, I think, at different times.
But anyway, I got that. The only other thing I saw that like caught my eye was Super Bomberman R2, which I forgot even existed. But I mean, it was cheap. It was like 20-some bucks. But like, I thought like I would buy almost any Bomberman game for $12.
Yeah. Well,
so I was like, sure, I'll buy a Bomberman game for $12. I wanted to get System Shock, which I was actually really surprised. Like I didn't know that got like a wider.
Yeah, I got that. I just bought it when I saw it was on there.
Well, I did the same thing where I was just like, oh, well, I really want that, and I want to support Night Dive. So I was like, well, I'm not gonna like. I'm okay buying that at full price, which was $40. Well, actually, no, it wasn't $40. It was $35. Oh wait, no, it was $40. I used some Amazon reward points on it. That's why it's $35. Anyway, like I was like, I feel totally fine, paying full price for a Night Dive game because they do such good work, and I like supporting them in physical releases of their products. I freaking love Night Dive. Also, that's a pretty good one, Kebabs, asking if Super Bomberman R2 is a sequel to Super Bomberman L1.
It's also,
I appreciate that.
Yes.
I appreciate that.
What games did I get? Like I didn't even think about games. I feel like I got let me see if I can see here. One of them was Legend of Legacy. Like I know
what you said you weren't gonna get.
But you know what? Like I'll do it in that situation, right?
Sure.
And they Eiyuden Chronicles 100 Heroes.
Oh.
Which
nice.
I didn't buy. I put it off, and I assume that there's a patch for the PS5 version at least it makes the sprites sharp now. Because that was like a thing, right? The PS5 version, like the sprites were not sharp.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't looked. Oh, I mean, my PS5 is on loan right now. So.
Right, but you bought the game anyways.
I did buy the game.
Yeah.
I loaded it up. It definitely had image quality and frame rate.
Yeah.
Was not ideal.
But the thing you got to think about is
actually the thing that bothered me. Actually, maybe was the frame rate bad? I can't remember. The frame rate might have been okay. The thing that actually bothered me the most was the shadow quality was like unbelievable.
Yeah, but this
super gigantically jaggy shadows.
The thing is that's not going to prevent you from playing it, but also if you want these things to get patched, there's never going to be a physical release that has it fixed.
No.
So you just got to accept, like, all right, so I guess I just get this.
Yeah.
Oh, whoops.
Anyway, so yeah, the list of games didn't really catch my eye. But since you and I have both like kind of been slowly getting a little bit into UHD movies a little bit more.
Yeah, I went overboard with the UHD movies.
Oh, did you? Well, I got a few. They haven't come yet. So you know how I said I bought the more expensive ones. I mean, none were like more than like $25. At least if they're list price, right? So the two like $20-some ones that I got was John Wick chapters 1 through 4, or no, 1 through 3.
Yeah.
And I forgot this existed, but like, hey, I want to watch it eventually. Resident Evil Death Island. I think that's the newest CG movie.
Oh, okay.
And like it has like the back of the box here on the website, and this is like the Smash Brothers of Smash Ultimate of Resident Evil. Like this is like everybody's here, because the back of the box shows like in one shot Chris, Jill, Rebecca, Claire, and Leon. And like I don't know if those five, I feel like that's like the core Resident Evil cast.
Yeah.
Like those are probably like the five most important hero characters in the series. And
oh, that's cool. He falls
and they're like they're all there. Like I don't know if they've ever been, especially not in like something
interacted
like Capcom directly, right?
Right. I mean,
I don't think they've ever been all together in one thing outside of like Mercenaries.
Right. But that doesn't
like,
count. That's not like
that doesn't count. Like in like a story, like all five of those characters together. That's kind of awesome.
Yeah.
Like that really makes me want to watch it. But I think there's like, I feel like there's like at least one, if not two other of those CG movies that I haven't seen yet. But I was like, well, that's something I'd buy if it was on a video. And then like the two sort of like middling priced ones that I got on the deal were the original Scream.
Oh, I got that one.
And Arrival.
Oh, Arrival's good.
Yeah. I mean, I only saw it one time, but when I saw it on the list, I was like, I really like that movie, so I'd buy a UHD. I bet it looks good.
Yeah.
And then the two cheap ones that I bought on the deal were The Big Lebowski and Train to Busan.
Oh, wait, you got Big Lebowski?
Yeah, it was cheap. So, I mean, I'm not like the biggest fan of the movie or anything, but every time, I mean, we've talked about like every time you watch it, it gets better. Yeah,
absolutely.
So, if I buy the UHD, maybe I will eventually be a really big fan.
Yeah, there you go.
Mr. Bianca is asking, do you like Onimusha or Dino Crisis since you like Resident Evil so much? I have played very little Onimusha, which is weird. Like, I've always thought that was weird. Like, even back in the day, like, I was like, I should be buying these games, shouldn't I? And I never did. Like, I was like, this seems like something I would like, but I just didn't buy them. I have since bought, I think it's 4 games on PS2. Onimusha, it's Onimusha Warlords, Onimusha 2, Onimusha 3.
I think, isn't there like an
I think there's another one.
There's there's a Smash Brothers type game.
Right, I don't have that one.
But like there's 4 like mainline ones. There's like 1, 2, and 3, and then like Dawn of Souls or something like that.
that's here. I'll get it off the shelf. Dawn of Souls is Final Fantasy 1 and 2 on GBA.
I know, but I'm pretty sure that Onimusha 4 is like Dawn of Souls.
It's Dawn of Dreams.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Man, this is a super nice copy too.
Is that sealed?
It's not sealed. My Onimusha 1 was sealed. Well, there's 2 discs in this. Is it a 2-disc game or is one like bonus features?
I don't know.
Weird. Wait a second. Oh, okay. I got scared for a second there. The disc 1 and disc 2 is like kind of like tucked away and hidden. And I'm like, these look like the exact same disc.
You got like 2 disc ones.
Yeah. Well, obviously, I couldn't return it because it was a pretty long time ago I got this.
I have 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah,
I played 1. I finished 1, but that's it.
I just haven't played through them yet. I've like booted up the first game and like taken a look at it, but I just haven't gotten around to it, to playing through it. As for Dino Crisis, I wish I liked Dino Crisis 1 a lot more than I do. I mean, yes, it does play a fair bit like Resident Evil, but I found that I didn't like the style of puzzle. I felt the puzzles were too much. At the time I played it, I kind of likened it to like
too much puzzle.
Huh?
Too much puzzle. I mean, not enough puzzle in the puzzle.
I mean, I kind of likened it to like Professor Layton style things, where it's like more brain teaser. You have to like think through a lot of math and is more logic puzzles. Like, whereas Resident Evil, like the puzzles, they're stupid and don't make sense, but ultimately they're relatively easy to figure out, right? Like they're, there's some weird ones where like you have like the pressure valves and stuff like that can be kind of confusing.
I see.
But I don't know. Like
when you go into your menu in this, it goes boom. It sounds like the no smoking or fasten your seatbelt sign just came on. I mean, no smoking is always on, but it's like it's like boom.
I know exactly what you're talking about. That's a really weird pause sound.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I just thought like, dude, I'm here to play a game about shooting dinosaurs. Like I don't want to feel like I'm taking a math quiz at the same time.
Yeah, I think they fixed that in the second one, didn't they?
They did, and so that's what I was going to say. The second game is much more of an action game, more so than Resident Evil, or at least Resident Evil of that time. And I think it's a lot better for it. It is more different than Resident Evil compared to the first Dino Crisis, but I feel it. I think it's a much better game for that. It's even got this like kind of like combo counter system, which is kind of out of place. But I think it goes to show that they were really intentionally taking a more arcadey kind of approach for it, and I think it works quite well. What's actually kind of funny about it though, Dino Crisis 1 was kind of interesting for the fact that it's Resident Evil style gameplay, but it was in a polygon environment. Which hadn't been done yet. I don't think Code Veronica was out yet. And of course, Dino Crisis 2 did come to the Dreamcast as well, but like at least on PS1, there was no Resident Evil game like that. So it was always kind of notable for that reason. But then, kind of weirdly, Dino Crisis 2 does what could be seen as a step back, which is it could be seen as a step back because it's pre-rendered backgrounds actually rather than full 3D, which you would think that the game with pre-rendered backgrounds would be the more puzzly game and the one with real-time backgrounds would be more action-y game, but it's actually the reverse. So it's weird, but it worked well. Mr. Bianchi says, didn't Shu Takumi direct Dino Crisis? The puzzles being like that makes a bit of sense if so. I don't think he directed Dino Crisis 1, but I think he directed Dino Crisis 2. Let me look this up. Although really, like, I mean, Phoenix Wright, wow, man, Shu Takumi has like a really styling photograph over here on Moby Games, let me tell you. He's got like a really fancy hat in suit, and he's pointing directly at the camera. Pretty good. Let's see. Let's see. Roll by date. Okay, he was one of the main planners for Dino Crisis 1 and the director for Dino Crisis 2. And then mostly he was... He was, Ace Attorney and Ghost Trick from there. In terms of credits.
I don't have the controls down perfectly, but I think that I am close. I'm not struggling with them.
That's good. I mean, I will say that I am kind of more reassured watching this that this might be something I would enjoy.
Yeah.
Than I had feared, perhaps. Although I don't know what the price on it is. I don't think it's ever been outrageously expensive.
I don't think so either, but
I think it was still only like $30 like not that long ago, although I don't know if it's probably gone up a bit. It's probably more like 50 years. I imagine this is probably like a 50, 60. David Kenyon says 70-ish. But I'm not shy about taking the no manual price for Genesis and Master System games. I'll do that. Oops. Nice.
I don't even do that.
I'm gonna get this Onimusha back on the shelf. Oh man. I will say it's been nice to have a stream to distract myself from why I'm so tired. Yes, Chris Waters says the SNES game Equinox is very similar to this in many respects. I was tempted to buy Equinox not that long ago. It's honestly been kind of on my radar ever since we did the Super NT review, where we actually visited and interviewed Kevtris.
Right.
And he said Equinox is his favorite Super Nintendo game, and it was like running on the monitor in the background during our interview. I've always been interested since then, but I feel like you don't see it very often. I saw it somewhere recently. I know I saw it recently, and I think it was just in bad condition. I think it's a pretty cheap game, actually.
Oh, I gotta leave the box on here.
I'll be curious if the level design becomes like overly frustrating later, because that was what turned me off from Alundra.
Yeah, like eventually it just gets.
It just the level design was like I felt like it almost felt like the intent of the level design became like, okay, let's look at this game's controls and how it plays, and basically create levels that will fight against that every step of the way. Like we want you to be as annoyed as possible.
Yeah.
Like rather than design something that makes sense for the perspective and controls, like let's make the hardest possible thing to work. Like Alundra just annoyed me so much that way. And like I feel like it was like that by like by like the third major area. Like, it was just asking you to make like some really stupid jumps. Like, I remember thinking like, what? There's no way that this is required. Like, this has to be going toward a secret because it's like so absurd.
But it wasn't. That was just like what you're supposed to do.
It was what I was supposed to do. I was like, this, are they really asking me to do this?
It also helps that there's like these. You can be revived like nearly an infinite amount of times, I think.
Well, you've only got 6 left in the pot, so you better be careful. That is what that counter is, right?
Yeah. But you can refill it every time you go back to the village.
You know what's funny is I'm noticing some slowdown in this.
I know, yeah.
It's like not something you usually see on the Genesis. It's got that real 16-bit CPU.
What happens if you manually use it? Is it better if you manually use the eek or ek?
Yeah, what's the difference? So is that indicating that the iki gave you 1 full heart, I guess? Yeah. Wow, those guys are tearing you up.
Yeah.
It says if you use it manually, it heals more. Interesting. Let's see.
I mean, it seems to use just the same amount, I think.
Well, that might be a fuzzy childhood memory, because that looks like exactly like what it gave him last time. In fact, less, because you had a big heart and a little heart, and you used it when you had just a little heart left, and now you could have had a free hit.
Right.
So I don't think that's actually the way to go.
So am I trying to get these guys to walk over the thing, or what? It's the whole idea, trying to get them to walk over it while I...
He revives Nigel and restores 11 HP or half of his total HP, whichever is higher. Interesting. FF7 on Sega CD, that's a funny thought. People always do demakes of stuff like, there's like that famous bootleg Final Fantasy 7 that's like in like Final Fantasy 1 Famicom graphics.
I'm surprised they never made one that was like in Final Fantasy 6 graphics.
Right, but like that's a thought I don't like. Like, can you imagine like Final Fantasy 7 and Lunar Sega CD graphics? Like, that's a weird thought.
Is there bosses in this? I don't wonder if there's bosses. Oh, it's the Orc King. Here we go. No, it's just this. Come get me. Just please walk into my swinging sword. I mean, that's kind of the biggest downfall of this game, is the battles, like the fighting is actually you just sit there and swing your sword.
It's pretty basic.
And they'll walk into it.
No real AI.
At least so far, yeah.
Yeah, an FF7 version on the Dreamcast would be pretty amazing, actually.
Yeah.
That would, that would be very similar to Resident Evil 2 and 3 on the Dreamcast, which looked fantastic.
Escape. I did it.
You did it. Now you need to save. Oh, and you should buy that now that you've got money. You should buy that heart in the enemy village or whatever it
was. So the movies I ended up buying with that.
Oh yeah.
Got Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I got The Dark Knight. Like I'm getting like just like singular movies. Like even if it's something, like I'm thinking about just buying the first Matrix. I don't need like them all. I'm just buying like singular movies in a series that I like.
Yeah. I mean, of course, the Matrix probably has the color grading issue, but still.
Right, but I mean, the only way to not get that is if
it's VHS, right?
Or like the first DVD.
First DVD, yeah.
But I think that they made it better on like even compared to like the Blu-ray.
Yeah, I mean it doesn't bother me as much as some of the color grading alterations and some other stuff.
Yeah.
Mache speaks for the Matrix UHD.
I got Scream. I got Ghostbusters, the original.
Oh, okay. I've got a pack of Ghostbusters 1 and 2. I got that years ago.
I got Jurassic Park.
I got that recently too. I haven't checked out how good it is though.
I got the first Die Hard.
Oh, I didn't see. Well, I actually like gave up going down the list of UHD stuff because it was like repeating so much stuff in the list.
Yeah,
too.
it was weird, and
I just like eventually I was just like, okay, I've looked enough, and then I started like sorting also by price, like looking at lower price ranges. So,
I got Blade Runner.
I thought about that.
And that one just includes the final cut. I have the DVD set that has like every single other version of the movie. I'm surprised that that's not included. I have the Blu-ray that has those. So I'm not able to get rid of one. Unfortunately, the way that it works out. I got Barbie.
Oh, okay.
Because I think it's good, and like the family likes it. I got Akira.
Okay, I've never seen that, but I need to.
Let's see what this is. Lifestyle.
I get that heart.
206 golds. All right, I got it.
There was a $5. Oh, go ahead and finish your list.
Yeah, and then we'll circle back. I'll be real quick. I got Starship Troopers, which is I really like Starship Troopers, and I feel like every time I get into buying getting into buying movies physically, I always have to get Starship Trooper because Starship Troopers was the first DVD I ever got. And I did at one point have it on Blu-ray, but I do not have it anymore. And I got a Super Mario Brothers movie because I did not have it.
Yeah, I got that. I got that on UHD when it came out.
And lastly, I got The Wizard of Oz, which I guess, like, because of HDR, it can look like it looked like in the theaters originally.
Wow, that's kind of awesome.
Yeah. And that's it.
So interesting. Wow, you did go overboard.
Yes.
But yeah, there was a super chat from Fred Northrup asking, "What is this color grading issue you speak of?" This was when we were talking about the Matrix.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, if I remember correctly, I think you know more about it than I do. But if I remember correctly, they tried. The original movie didn't have the greenish tint in the Matrix that the sequels did.
Right. It's kind of bluish in the original. So they went back with like the Blu-ray, and they tinted the first one so it's kind of greenish. So when they're in the Matrix, it has a green overtone to it.
It's more consistent with the sequels.
Yes.
obviously that's the intent.
But when you watch the sequels, it's fine, but I always feel like it's pretty overbearing.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's been so long since I've seen the original movie as original form that I can't really.
In the theater or on VHS or on DVD.
Yeah, I mean, I originally saw it on VHS, but did like that the huge DVD box set that's got like the big slipcover with the code on it. That's got it's got all three movies and the Animatrix. Like I think it came out like pretty shortly after all those movies came out. Do you know if that one has the original color grading or the revised color grading? Because that's probably what I've seen it the most times.
It probably is on that one because I feel like they probably did that after the sequels came out. Like whatever release happened.
How soon after? I wonder. I don't know.
I bet you they did like pretty much right away. I bet.
Alex Gavin says the green was there in the original DVD before any of the sequels came out.
I don't think that's true. Like the Snapcase DVD, it was not in there.
The Snapcase. So someone brought those up on the MLiG Discord.
Snappers. Yeah, there was like only Warner Brothers.
Someone was saying that they thought they were like I forget who it was. They thought it was like Warner Brothers or some company.
Yeah, it was only Warner Brothers.
Was it only Warner Brothers?
Well, and like New Line Cinema and stuff okay.
I thought that was just a phase. Like I didn't think it was necessarily closely tied to a particular publisher. But interesting.
When do I get like a weapon upgrade?
But color grading issues is like actually a pretty big issue in digital transfers these days. I mean, it's not just for physical media because these versions are ultimately what end up going on streaming services as well. There was apparently major errors with how certain, I can't remember if
Lord of the Rings,
the extended edition of Lord of the Rings, right? Specifically, had major errors
because it's like color. Well, in the Blu-ray there was, and then it's very similar to what's happening with like the James Cameron stuff, where they're like using those Blu-rays as like the master, and then they have to like fix those instead of going back to the original, like an original print of the film. Just use that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel very strongly that if something uses the term remaster, it needs to be so good and so faithful that if you lost the original, it's okay. Because, I mean, the term obviously means remaster. So this is the new master copy. This is the source for all subsequent versions. And that needs to mean that it introduces no issues of its own. It needs to be very faithful to the original.
This dude just like stops. It's like, remember, Nigel, the straightest path. Remember, Nigel. Hang on. The straightest path has many curves. Just as an FYI.
He probably says that the entire game.
Yes.
But I mean, for movies, like, I mean, I feel like there has to be no one buying physical movie media who would be like, ooh, film grain. Like,
yeah.
Like, people who are buying physical media for movies today, no one wants to see like the film grain digitally denoised. Like, you want that texture.
Yeah,
that is part of it. You want as much of that film source preserved as possible. Now, I get that people watching on streaming, maybe they don't like film grain, but it's those processes are ultimately usually tied together.
Yeah.
But if you're using the term remaster, that should mean that nothing, no flaws, no good things, nothing is missing. Like that the remaster has to imply that if you lost the original from that point on, it's okay. Because you've done the job right in making this remaster that you can
especially with 4K
derive future versions from.
Especially with 4K like being basically, if it's like done well, it can be the same, like equal to the original.
Right. Now what they put on a Blu-ray, a 4K Blu-ray is still going to be compressed, but they should have the uncompressed source stored away, right?
Yeah.
You know, that isn't going to have. So, you know, that is a proper remastering. And that uncompressed 4K source should be, you know, if there was something someday that's better than UHD Blu-ray, then, you know, they can go back to that to redistribute. You know, you don't want your source to actually be the compressed UHD Blu-ray, but you know, you should never change. I mean, you know, the colors. I mean, I think the reason some of this is such an issue anyway is because you do have to. I think. You know, I'm not a film scanner, but I think that you do have to do some degree of color grading because, you know, the film will have lost some of that original color at this point, I think. So, you know, it's not just a import and done, and you know, there's film damage to fix. I mean, that's right. I think that's totally acceptable. But yeah, it's you know, but it's the same thing with games, like, you know, and even more so, like remaster it's a tricky word to use in video games, I think, because really the master copy is always, you know, let's assume we're talking about, you know, this era of games. You know, we're not talking about more complicated stuff that's releasing now. You know, you've got your ROM. Like that ROM is always going to be the master, you know. Now, if you could go back to source code, you know, maybe you could make a new master. I mean, you know, they certainly did that back at the time, you know, if they released is that the first time we've seen the world map?
Yeah, I didn't know if I hit a direction on it, it would go away. So I don't even look at it.
You know, back in the day, you know, you would sometimes have like a couple of revisions of the ROM that's put on the cart. So obviously,
Chris Waters, I got the red jewel. Do I need to do anything else there? I assumed I was going to move on from there.
Kebab says, to me, remastering a video game means to polish up the original work. Crash Insane Trilogy is not a remaster, it's a remake, right? Or at least it's a visual remake. I don't know if it uses any of the original logic. Probably not, because I think I'm pretty sure I heard some of the edge detection behavior and stuff is different. But yeah, that is a remake, or at least a visual remake. A remaster to it's almost a term that's hard to apply to video games, especially pixel art. I would say.
So like the Final Fantasy pixel remasters, if they were like moved correctly and like it would, if it moved correctly, like that would achieve would.
Well, there's a lot more than just the stutter though. Like I think remaster is a bad term for this, because you know, there's too many visual and aesthetic and presentation changes from the original. You know, I regardless of anyone's opinion on whether the new sprite art is, you know, better or worse, I'm not comfortable with that term really being used for this, because it to me, remaster, if you're calling a remaster, should ultimately be a preservation effort. It should seek to, and that's why I think it's hard to apply to video games, because especially if you're talking about like pixel art games, like, well, the ROM is the master, you know, and so the closest, I mean, you know, just like a really well emulated version, that's not really a remaster, because you're not usually modifying the ROM. Maybe you are sometimes, maybe you're fixing some bugs. And in that case, that might be something of a remaster if you're fixing bugs that are good to fix, not bugs that, you know, some bugs should be left untouched, but, you know, maybe, you know, crashes, you don't need to keep a crash bug in there. You know, something like that, I would say would constitute a remaster, but it's, you know, it's really light touch stuff, I would say, for a video game.
Yeah.
Now, things will be different when you get into 3D eras, and that's where I still think calling it a remaster is pretty shaky, because in my opinion, you know, like let's take, say, the PS3 360 era Metal Gear Solid HD, whatever they're called, HD collection or whatever it's called. Most people will probably call that a remaster, and I get that, especially when it came out, because you know, 720p, that was about the highest resolution. At least I think it's 720p. I don't think it's 1080p. I think it's 720p. You know, 60 FPS. You know, that was as good as you needed at the time.
Right.
You know, it looked really excellent. Now, you know, I think it came up on a recent DF Direct that apparently that version did not have the nightmare sequence from Metal Gear Solid 3. In part, probably because it's a completely different game engine, right?
Right. It has like, is it like from the game? Is it Nano Breaker? It was from?
I think it was like a game that was in development and then was canceled, or maybe took a different form. I'm not sure.
I forget.
Regardless, they are good, but think about it. Like, I don't think, though, that should be the source of the game, of all versions of the game going forward. So I don't think it should be called remaster, because, well, for one, it's 720p. Okay, well, you could port that to a new system and make it 4K, or render it 4K. But, well, the assets, if any assets were redrawn for the HD collection, it's been so long since I played it, I don't remember. They probably are like higher resolution assets, right? Well, but they're going to be designed for 720p.
Right.
So now that version, which looked really good at that time, ultimately has a flaw that makes it not the version to, you know, say like, this is what we go back to every time. It's very, very, very good, but I don't know if it's, you know, as accurate to the original as it maybe really needs to be, if you really want to be strict about the usage of a remaster, of the term remaster. You know, I think the best way to represent a video game is at its original resolution. I know most people, you know, think that, you know, that, oh, we want 4K or something. I think that's the overall, like, presenting a game at the resolution it was designed for is, I think, the best, because there's so much that goes into the overall visual design that, and then upscaling, where you lose context for why are the visuals designed this way.
Yeah.
Or, you know, why does the level of detail shift in such an obvious way in 4K?
A good example of that would be like the Mario RPG remake. I mean, that's a remake, I understand, but
right. But you mean an example of where you've lost context for why the original was designed the way it was?
Yeah.
Maybe to some extent, for sure. You know, I feel like, I mean, okay, I saw Mr. Bianc say, by your definition, try was an ideal remaster. I mean, that might be an interesting example where, like, I still feel like the master copy of a video game will always be the original. That's the master copy. I don't think you really can remaster a game by the definition I am proposing. Like, you could emulate LandStalker, and it could look, you know, just like this. It wouldn't be a remaster, but it would be a great and highly recommended emulated way to play the game, right? Yeah. You know, but it wouldn't be a remaster, but that I think is the ideal way to represent a game like this to a modern audience who plays on modern platforms. But if you were to say, like, okay, but we're actually going to visually overhaul this game and we're going to call it a remaster. Well, Mario RPG actually might be a really good example where, you know, as I said in the end of the year video, I think it would have been so cool if they like leaned harder into the
original style, like
the mid-90s CG aesthetic.
Yeah.
And like made them look like these like really plasticky renders, right? And I feel like you do. I overall do like that remake, but I do feel like you lose a little bit of the context,
right?
For how it's designed. By the way, Chris Waller says now exit the village from the south. I might have been a bit ago.
I appreciate you putting it all in caps. It makes it stick out easier for me. And don't worry, I do not I don't like interpret that as you as yelling at me. It just makes it really easy for me to.
I take the same impression. Hopefully that's the intent.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, okay, I could see that as being considered something of a remaster. Anything really that was designed with like pre-rendered graphics, if that was recreated, it would have to be recreated, because I don't think, you know, I strongly suspect, especially for Mario RPG, maybe to a lesser extent Donkey Kong Country. I don't know. This is just me guessing. I really don't know. I'm guessing that there were like some manual touch-ups, like, or maybe even like some hand-done work for some of the poses and animations. I don't think they're just like each pose, snapshot, shrink down. Like, I think there is some hand touching up. So I don't think you could necessarily, I think there's enough like work done, animation done within the game itself. Like the way that certain, like on a large enemy, like certain joints might be separate and they might like move. Those might be part of the animation that was never created with the CG model, for example.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think, you know, I think you would basically have to very faithfully recreate those CG models and then base the new poses and animations off of the final game. And if you did that really slavishly in recreating the original CG look, and while also making sure the animations were accurate for the final game, I think, you know, that I could see the argument for calling that remaster, but something would still be lost if the, you know, suddenly every ROM of Super Mario RPG Super Nintendo version ceased to exist. I still feel like something would still be lost. So, you know, remaster is a tricky word to use in a way that I feel fits the intent of what the word originally was meant to be. Or I actually don't know that much history behind it. I'm just like, but the logic tracks, right? Like a master copy is what you use to make copies.
Yeah.
And if you make a remaster, that means that's the new master. And so therefore you don't have to go back to the original ever again, but you better be real sure you didn't change a darn thing. It needs to be as accurate as possible to the intent of the original. And that's why I think that the example of Mario RPG, that was a good point you brought up. I do think that's like actually kind of one of the few things from like this era of gaming where I would say that you could genuinely call that a remaster, because your source is something much higher resolution than what ended up in the final game. Whereas something like this would have been designed as pixel art from the get-go. So, there's nothing to remaster. It only really makes sense for like pre-rendered stuff, or let's say something more recent, like I don't know, Streets of Rage 4 or the Dragon's Trap remake or something like that. Like, if all of that work is, if any of it was designed at a super high resolution, like maybe one day, some of that artwork could be, put in an 8K version or whatever, if anyone ever even cares about 8K. Things like that were the source artwork. But like when it comes to pixel art, the pixels are the source. That's the source artwork. So from my view, there's nothing to remaster for a pixel art. You can remake it, but it's not really a remaster, because the pixel version is always going to have value.
Hopefully I'm going the right way. Not that it matters. Plenty of light.
Did they say if they actually used the pre-rendered CG as a base for the Switch version of Mario RPG? Always assumed the source material for pre-rendered CG from the era was mostly lost to time. Maybe. I've never heard anything about the development of that version. But I'm just saying if they did. If they what I'm saying is, instead of doing what they did, like lean hard into it, use and make new high-res pre-renders. Like, don't make it polygon based like the remake is. That's what I'm saying. Like, lean all the way into it and make it look like a high-res version of the original pre-rendered models that like you can see in like the player's guide, the strategy guide. They made those models. So now, can they access those? Can they easily even open them in like modern software? Probably not. Probably the best way to do it would be to very accurately recreate. And I think that would be pretty interesting. But of course, it'll never happen because the remake does exist, which I do think is good. But I would have liked to have seen what if they went even further. Because in a lot of ways, a lot of it, even though it's a very faithful remake, it doesn't have that shiny mid-90s CG look. I'll tell you, the point in the game, the point in the game that I felt made me most feel like, wow, that looks so close to the original, was Nimbus Land. Like when you first get up in the clouds into the town, like where that cutscene plays out, about.
I don't even remember it. The game's not that long. I should really.
Oh, it's like a 12-hour game. It's great. Yeah. It's like 12, 15 hours. Of course I know what I'm doing. Like, it's like a 15-hour game.
I saw somebody mention the repop remaster of Lollipop Chainsaw.
Oh yeah.
Did you watch that trailer for it?
I haven't, but I've never played the original game.
Well, the trailer is like really weird. I don't know.
Really?
It's just like just the way that it is put together. It feels like a really weird trailer. And it's really vague, and it has like characters, but it has like no audio, like sound bites or anything from the like dialogue or anything like that when it shows the characters. You'd expect like some sort of, I don't know, more than just music playing over like the visuals, you know? It just the trailer just felt like really weird.
Have you ever played the game before?
Yeah. I beat it. I have the PS3 version.
Okay.
I beat it when it came out.
I'm very interested in the remake for sure.
Yeah, I know this doesn't matter to you, but it has a licensed soundtrack, and the soundtrack is a key part of it. You know, like.
Oh, do you think they're not going to be able to have that?
I wonder if they're going to be allowed to like keep the music in there.
Well, you know, I won't care.
Right, but you know, like it would.
But again, it shouldn't be called a remaster if it's missing anything from the original. There was a $2 super. Hold on a second. I apologize. First. I missed one. Well, here I'll go in reverse order.
Okay.
First, the two from Genova Vienna. Thank you. Saying if they recoded it, then made it from scratch. I'm not sure if you were specifically talking about a specific game we were talking about, like Mario RPG or anything. But yeah, that kind of would have to be in a lot of cases, like the closest thing but then that's a remake. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. But yeah, then it would be a true remaster. Yeah, I mean, the term almost.
I'm gonna run to the bathroom.
Okay. The term almost can't apply to video games in the same way that it could, in theory, to movies or other media, because video games are so beholden to how they are coded and the hardware that they're coded to run on, and any software layer between the game and the hardware that it runs on. I mean, it's so beholden to that in a way that linear media is not. Kurt Mack says Super Mario RPG on Switch wasn't marketed as a remaster, as far as I know. Yeah. And that's not really the argument. I mean, they just call it Super Mario RPG. It's a remake. It's a very, very, very faithful remake. What I was talking about was what if in theory they went back to those original renders, snapshotted them, made them pose and animate exactly like the Super Nintendo game, but in, not 4K for the Switch, but if they did it in 4K, so that, that could then, get a better version for the Switch 2 or something, or in the future. I'm saying, what if they leaned into it in that capacity? I could see the argument for calling that a remake. I'm not saying I don't like things that are termed remasters in games and remakes. I love it. I mean, actually, a lot of people complain like, oh, games are just remakes and remasters now. No original ideas. And I'm like, I actually kind of love this stuff when it's done well. There can be very well done things that are termed remasters, even though I wouldn't, it wouldn't necessarily be like, oh, this is the version that I want to go, on in perpetuity. I mean, there was a lot of stuff going around a couple of months ago using Persona 4 is an example. The comparisons were done from the PC version, but I assume this applies to the Vita version, which is the first version of Persona 4 Golden. as well. But there's such a different atmosphere to many settings between the original PS2 version of Persona 4 and Golden, that I never realized. I mean, I've played both versions, but it'd been enough time that I wasn't like, wow, the fog looks so different here. Or this scene has like a yellow overcast in the original. It's like bright blue skies here. I wasn't thinking of that at the time, but when you see in the comparison, it's like, wow, yeah, like actually that's kind of a shame in some ways that Persona 4 Golden comes out on Vita, and it's like, okay, this is the new source for the game. This is the new master copy. Now, PC, Switch, PS4, all these versions now are based on the Vita version. And they're, don't get me wrong, I think Persona 4 Golden is very good. But, those posts kind of drew attention to the fact that, wait a second, it's actually quite different. There are aspects of the visuals that are not carried over. And of course, the game changed a lot too. Most people would say, oh, it's the definitive version because it has more content. That's something I've always thought is weird, is that whenever a developer adds new content to the game, it's like, it's kind of considered like word of God.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was
like,
thinking,
oh, this is now like this should have always been there. And when a future version doesn't have that content, people are like, I actually, staying with Persona, weirdly enough, I've only played Persona 3 Portable. A lot of people probably think that's weird. But I got into the series with Persona 4. And when I saw what options there were to play, wow, you just laid that statue on that old lady's shoulder.
I know.
That's kind of cruel. Can you put the other on her other shoulder?
It's like the devil and the angel.
Yeah.
On her shoulder.
Anyway, I considering I played Persona 4 first, and you can set to do manual control over all your characters. I was like, I would be driven insane not being able to control my characters in Persona 3. So that's why I played Portable. But a lot of people were mad, like, oh, like all this content from FES and P3P, like it's cut from Persona 3 Reload. It supposedly goes mostly back to the content of the original game, as far as I know, the original PS2 version. But like, see, that doesn't bother me because like I just, people are like, oh, Super Mario 64 DS, like, oh man, I wish they would make a new version that has all the a version that plays like the original but has all the content from the DS version. It's like, that content was just made to sell the game. Like, it's not like that was part of Miyamoto's original vision. Like, it, when you add these like random dungeons to Final Fantasy 1 and 2 on GBA and stuff like that, like you know what I mean? Like, people treat that as word of God. Like, that stuff now needs to be in every future version of the game, or else it's missing content. It's not content complete.
And that kind of sucks. That sucks. I mean,
I don't agree with that at all.
I never played all the way through Skies of Arcadia Legends, and I know they added like a new character, and I feel like in terms of like having that character make sense in that game, it would have to require like a whole bunch more content. Did you played through Legends, didn't you?
I did. I don't even remember who's the extra character.
Doesn't she have like a scythe or something like that?
Yeah. Does she join the party?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she does.
Do you have to like do a bunch of side stuff to get her to join? Because I honestly don't remember her joining.
I don't know. I haven't played it, but I know that she does join. She's just the boss battle. She's the. Do you get? Is there? So there's not another
playable character.
So there's not another playable character?
But like, I mean, I think like, I've never actually played it myself, but like, Tales of Vesperia added like that little pirate girl, right? I don't know if there was like another added character, but it's like, well, what? I don't know. Maybe she was cut content that was cut during production, but at the same time, like, sometimes content is cut during production for a reason. Like, just because a developer had an idea at some point doesn't mean that if they cut it out of the final game that like something is missing. Maybe they decide to cut it out for, good reasons. Maybe it wasn't just time and budget, right? They were like, this character's not working. This part's not working. This level's not working. It's not like, the definitive version is going to be this one with this missing level, with this missing character. Sometimes this stuff is cut for a reason. And then they're just like, this character appeared in old magazine screenshots. Let's, we'll bring this character back for, the new version, and that'll be a big advertising point. It's the marketing people that are asking for this stuff, not the original game creators. I'm convinced of that.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
So don't get me wrong. Some of that added content can be cool. It can be cool. But I tend to err on the side of like, in most cases, the originally released version is probably, in terms of content completeness, is fine. I don't think something is missing because anyway, I'm going down rabbit holes. I should get back to Mega X6's $10 super chat. Thank you so much.
I feel like we haven't seen Mega X6 in a little bit.
Yeah, and often Mega X6 does not leave a comment, but there is a comment this time saying, "Good evening." Good evening and happy Father's Day.
Thank you.
I decided to treat myself today and bought Sea of Stars and Final Fantasy II SNES. Ooh. I'm enjoying Sea of Stars so far. Dang, getting that old red Super Nintendo cart.
Yep.
That's a good one. Final Fantasy IV is another of those examples of the later versions let you choose the characters that are going to be in your final party.
Which is, I don't want that.
I don't want that. I do not want that. The idea of that makes me so mad. I do not want that.
And the thing is like, the coolest part about the ending is like how all these characters come back and bring you back to life.
Yes, they still play their role, right? They have an important role to play.
Yes, I agree. That's definitely a situation where it's like, I don't want to choose it. Like one of the things I like the most about Final Fantasy II is that it, like, you have a set party.
Yes. I would never change from Cecil Kane, Rosa Radia, and Edge. Like no, sorry, Yang, you're staying on the planet to pray for me so I don't die.
Yeah. So what happens when that like if you take them into the final battle? Do they just like cut that part out?
I don't know. But see, most people would say like, "Ooh, that's a nice new feature." And then, if the game came back without that feature, they'd be like, "Oh, but it's missing content that this version has." And it's like, no.
Yeah, don't put that. So, like, can you even like choose like Palom and Porom somehow? Like, they're not unstoned by the end of the game, right?
I don't even know off the top of my head which versions do that. Was that just like the DS version? Or did the PSP version also do it? I've never played the DS version, but I've played the PSP version. Which the PSP version is very good. But
yeah, I like how it looks. I've not played it all the way through. I've only played up until, I mean, it's so easy just to play up until like Mount Ordeals and then like stop.
Okay. Wait. In the Final Battle Advance, that character is replaced by Who's Left Behind. So wait, did Advance? Okay, GBA. Oh, okay. GBA and PSP let you swap, but DS doesn't. Okay.
Well, DS is because it's like a remake, and it probably would be tougher to.
Well, I mean, I guess it's a similar. Well, but I have heard that I have heard that remake kind of throws you for a loop. Like it changes around like a lot of like I think boss weaknesses, and actually throws you, if you know the game really well, it actually like intentionally kind of plays with your expectations. Which, you know, I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but it is a remake. It's its own game, so I guess that's okay. But like, you know, don't get me wrong, PSP version of Final Fantasy IV very cool, but like, you know, it's not a replacement for the original. Same with the Pixel remaster. It's just, I mean, really, every version of a game becomes its own thing from a preservation standpoint, right? Like,
yeah.
You know, I think a lot of people think like, oh, we only need to preserve the PC version because it's the best. But no, you also want to preserve the PS3 version and the Xbox 360 version or what have you. Like the particular characteristics of those games. Like, yes, in some cases, in modern games, like they are more similar than they've ever been, but they still have their unique aspects that make them.
Can I leave? I didn't fill up my
versions that need to be preserved. This is the next dungeon. You can do it.
I just found one, but I'm gonna try to see if I can see how it goes, I guess.
But also Sea of Stars, you know, hopefully tomorrow on the Backloggery stream, we will finish The Messenger. We hope. We're kind of in the note hunting part of the game.
I don't even remember it.
Well, it's where it becomes very, very Metroidvania.
Metroid Prime searching for the artifacts.
Yes. It's not.
That kind of stuff is never welcome, I think. Like it's just unnecessary like padding, I think, in a lot of games when like we're gonna make you do a world tour and like find all this stuff.
Yeah. I mean,
I'd rather do a world tour and just like see what kind of cool power-ups I can find instead of just like a required like find all these items.
Or you know what the best version of a world tour is when you do like the victory lap and the game ending. Or like, you know, you like sometimes like Dragon Quest has done it a few times. I think Earthbound did it. Where like you like actually like go walk through the world during the ending and like revisit old locations and talk to NPCs.
Yeah. But I'd rather find power-ups and stuff like that, personally.
But regardless, like in The Messenger, it's cool in the sense that, you know, they keep changing up what the game is, right? You know, how the gameplay changes is like kind of the story behind the game, right? It's actually rather clever in that way, I'd say. But it's not if you want to call it Metroidvania, it's not the best. It's not the best implementation. I'd say the better part of the game was the linear part before.
Oh, that restored all my health.
But anyway, hopefully. Oh, you want to remember where that is?
Yeah. I want to move.
Hopefully, we'll finish that tomorrow, and then, you know, I am definitely tempted to start Sea of Stars maybe fairly soon. Like I keep thinking of games that I want to play based on other games I have been playing or want to play, and not getting to my pledges because, like, you know, now that Alan Wake 2 has a physical copy coming out, I'm like, oh, I should play Control.
Yeah.
And
I don't even know
now
how long Sea of Stars is. I wonder how.
I don't either. Now that I'm about to finish the messenger, I'm like, oh, I should play Sea of Stars.
I mean, I had thought at one point that, like, I really wanted to play like a classic RPG, a classic style RPG, and I was thinking about playing Octopath Traveler 2. But I'm like, listen, like Lufia 2 is on my list. Like I should just play that.
Yeah.
But then I just didn't. I couldn't like get myself into it, like to like the desire to do it. So I'm glad I'm playing this on here because it feels more
not super long.
Well, no, I mean I'm sure Lufia 2 is like, I bet it's less than 30 hours.
Oh, I bet it is.
Like I bet it's like closer to 25, which isn't that much longer than this. You know, when I think about it, that much time is like not all that long. When I consider the fact that I put like 70 hours in the Stellar Blade to do get that platinum, it's like, oh geez, like I gotta play through more than half of my list, probably.
I mean, games are so padded these days. I mean, you look at some of these old games, and young people might be like, oh, this looks kind of slow and boring, but they're just so snappy, And modern games, they're just so much more padded. I mean, I like modern games too, but I sometimes miss the efficient pacing of games. I mean, I don't necessarily miss it because I can play them anytime, and I do. Oh, something I meant to mention during the stream. Let me see if I can find it. Oh yes, here it is. That the episode of the Still Loading podcast that I recorded with Josh there on Dragon Quest II.
That's right.
It went up like an hour before the stream, so I'm gonna drop the link. Y'all go listen to that later. We tried
Dragon Quest II, huh?
Yeah, Dragon Quest II. Well, he was actually really glad that I told him, like, oh yeah, I love Dragon Quest II, because he was afraid he wasn't going to be able to find a guest for it because Dragon Quest II maybe not one of the more beloved ones, but I really enjoyed it.
Have you heard this bit about how apparently that remake of 3 is going to be a remake of 1, 2, and 3?
Yeah, that I don't remember what the basis of that rumor was, but that's interesting, I guess.
And I think that I wonder if it'll start with 3, because 3 is prequel to both of them, right?
Correct. So you're saying, like, you think it might be just like a continuous game?
Did I miss something? I just thought that I had missed something.
I mean, it would be weird, because I mean, 3 is definitely the most substantial of the 3.
Yeah, but it is a great moment though in 2 when you realize that like all of 1 took place on like an island.
Yeah.
Like that is a great reveal, and makes it feel just so much bigger.
Right. What version of 2 did you play?
I played the Super Famicom version. Believe it or not, with a
I figured. I mean, did you used to own a repro of it?
Yeah, but they had a glitch in it where you could like permanently lose one of the characters in your party.
Right. They like can get like in a bed, or
yeah,
like they're always like perpetually stuck in a bed or something. Yeah, I think I think people like run into that glitch all the time too. Like,
yeah, I think that's been fixed now. I got to do something with the water, like the water from the.
Go into the cave. Down.
Go back down. Okay. I can walk in. I see. For some reason, I was thinking, oh, that's water. but it's not. I get it now.
Is a pun.
Yeah. It's dried. Yes.
Wait, it happens on the GBC version, but if you use the leaf from the island, you get them back. That's really weird that the glitch would also happen on Game Boy Color.
Yeah.
I actually just got that version.
This like looks so weird right here.
It does look weird. That's kind of trippy. It's above you somehow.
Yeah. All right, I'll find.
Oh, it's not a glitch. It's just a tutorial to get the revival. Ah. No, apparently there is an actual glitch where that like it just gets stuck in a loop there. On with the specific to the fan translation. As far as I understand, I've never played that version myself. Have you played a version of 3 before?
No, I've never played 3. 3 and 7, I believe, are the only ones that I've never played. And I really should make that a point to play those.
3's great. 3 is really great. Before 11, I would say that 3 is in my top 3. But I'm not real sure where 11's high up there for sure. I'm not sure if 11 bumps 3 out of my top 3 or not. It's definitely in my top 4 at least.
I feel like I gotta. Come on, I can.
So you're playing this on your original cart. Does this use a battery?
Yes.
Have you replaced it?
Yeah, I've replaced all the batteries, I think.
In your collection?
Yeah. I've not gotten the key. Do I have a key? I don't have a key. Shadow Mask, I don't think that they should make another Phantasy Star. I think they should just like leave it. I think that I think by making another one, it would only serve to undermine what they have achieved. Or what they did achieve. You know, like I just think that if a developer has the guts to like permanently finish a story that's spread across multiple games, I think it says a lot if they never go back to it. You know what I mean? Like I just think, what if it was good? I mean, I don't know. Like whatever is going to happen, I feel like it's going to take away from what happens at the end of 4. I just think it says a lot when they can finish, like, end a series and then be done with it. You know what I mean?
I mean, I think isn't that part of some of the criticism about Shenmue 3? Like, does it not really, like, definitively end the story?
No. I mean, there should be, like, I think the problem with 3 is that it doesn't move the story along enough for as long as people waited for it. So, like, 1 takes a long time, and it doesn't move the story along very far. But then the second game has a whole bunch of the chapters in it, and it moves it along a bunch. And then people, I think, were hoping that 3 would move it along as much as the second
but
one.
does it or does it not feel like a conclusion?
No. There's definitely, it does not conclude it at all.
So, like, that's, you know, that I guess that's what I'm saying. Like, the reverse of that is, like, people wait such a long time for a sequel to something that can finally end the story. and then they just like don't use their one shot at ending it.
Yeah, well, I think the thing is that they spent so long developing it, and also I think they thought there was so much hype around it that getting to do another one was like probably felt like a sure thing to them. You know what I mean?
That's a mistake.
It is a mistake, and because they're probably not going to get another shot at it, or maybe in another 20 years. Where am I supposed to go? Like I don't know where the thing.
But, the other big one I think is Mega Man Legends 3. Like it looked like they were finally going to be able to make a conclusion to that story. But then they made it all weird with like, in those early demos, like there was like some other character or something, right? You were playing as. I don't think that's what anyone really wanted, No. Then they weren't able to deliver on it all. But like, Mega Man's still stuck on the moon.
Yeah.
And he probably always will be.
I see the people are talking Phantasy Star here, and Voltar is defending the third game, and I'm happy to hear that, because like I love the third game. There was I feel like you see more and more defense of it as time goes on. More in defense of it?
Yes.
Or you see it just in general, like not just for me.
I see more people speaking up in Phantasy Star 3's defense as time goes on.
Yeah. I mean, I still think that, like 2 is still like my least favorite. It's always been my least favorite.
Man, you get so much flack. Like,
people still love to talk about like that, and the
Double Dragon
Returns, and that Phantasy Star 2 video. Like, I get comments on that like constantly still. Like, I mean, I guess not constantly, but like
probably once every month or two, and they're just like, you are like brain damaged.
Yeah.
For thinking that Phantasy Star 2 was a disappointment, and that Double Dragon, Super Double Dragon was.
I'm gonna head back out because I think I need to talk to those people that were on the raft. I bet I get a key from them. So I'm gonna head back out. I'm gonna see if I can, at least. Hopefully I'm not trapped. But yeah, I mean, I think a problem like 2 was. It felt like a lot. It felt like so much smaller than the first one. And I think it's because it was like made in like 6 months or something like that. Something like some ridiculous short amount of time. And it's just the like the hacks for it to like speed up everything makes it so much more approachable. Oh, maybe I can go this way. No, I already went that way.
Oh. But yeah, stuff.
Oh.
Stuff and things.
Stuff and things and stuff. No, that's my favorite kind of stuff, things.
Yeah, I like them things.
But those, if you ever go back to trying Phantasy Star 2 again, you should.
I mean,
you should try to just play the hacked version, because it did.
I want to give the original version another chance. I mean, it's not that I.
Pockets. This guy's name. His name is Pockets.
Oh,
it's Mr. Pocket.
Okay. I mean, I didn't not enjoy what I played of 2. I just think it wasn't the right time to play it.
Yeah, but I think that you would have. I think that like literally anybody will have a better time playing that hacked version.
I'm sure.
And that has gotten official releases in collections. You know?
Yeah.
Like, so I think that there is precedence to, like, saying I'm going to play this as, like, the primary version. Especially since, you know what? I don't know. You don't have a Genesis Mini, too. You can play it on there.
I did. Well, yeah, I do.
Okay, then you should play it on there because it has that in it. Play it that way.
Maybe so. I mean, yeah, that's a fair argument.
There's the key. There's that key. Found it.
I can also fix it up pretty on the Retrode 4K.
Right. And there you go.
There was a $2 super chat by one of Coury's favorite usernames, Roughhousing by Proxy. I like that name too.
Yes.
Saying Coury is always right. With
let's not be crazy now. Always.
Always right. Well, yeah, everyone is always right. I mean, it's your opinion.
Yeah.
I really hate this attitude of like, oh, you think this? Well, I cannot take you seriously anymore. Like, you know what? Opinions.
Yeah. How do they work?
I mean, it's funny to me that, like, I still sometimes get some hate for
your Nintendo Power 100 issue.
Nintendo Power, but I feel like you get more comments though about the Super Double Dragon and Phantasy Star 2 than I get for that.
Yeah.
Which is weird because I feel like there's probably more people that would look at a Nintendo Power, a video about Nintendo Power than a video about the Phantasy Star 2 or Super Double. You know?
Yeah.
But like, you really offended some people.
Yeah.
I mean, and you weren't like pooping on them.
No.
Like you were not like just taking a big old dump on them. Like you
from a great height.
From a great height. I mean, you were very fair.
Take a dump. Take a dump. Oh, take a dump. From
Fall
a
Fancy.
great
Yeah, I like
height.
Fall Fancy.
You gotta say it you gotta sing it like Paranoid Android by Radiohead. It says from a great height. That was close.
Voltaire, I am very dubious that I took a poop at your house. I don't think I did. I don't think I did that. I feel like I would remember,
Yeah, that's the kind of that would be something to make sure you don't forget it.
I remember when I did my Europe trip in high school. Me and my friends were like, we made such a big deal out of like wanting to be able to say that we pooped in every country we went to, and like this
is very important.
This was very important to us. I mean, we were.
That was you had this checklist.
We were 16 years old. Like, what is more important than life than ensuring that you have left your mark in every country you've been to? And
you've defecated in every.
We were like
your bowels in every single.
We were like, we cannot forget to poop in Liechtenstein. It's very small. We weren't going to be there for long. And we forgot to poop in Liechtenstein. I've never, to this day, pooped in Liechtenstein.
Oh.
In fact, Liechtenstein is the only country I've been to that I've not pooped in. It's literally unfinished business.
This says, "Thou brave soul, your effort will be rewarded if you do your best. Do your best and forget the rest." That's what my boy Tony Horton used to always tell me. Do your best and forget the rest. For me, it was like I did my best and then forgot the rest for the next 8 years. Oh, I'm on the other side, so I guess I don't.
You know, that would maybe be a fun stream someday to revisit Nintendo Power 100 and talk about it again with like. I feel like I know, like a lot of the games that I was dismissive of. I mean, yes, they were sports games, but there were probably others that I was dismissive of that I probably know more about now than I knew back then.
Mm-hmm.
And I probably would not be as dismissive. So it might be a fun stream sometime, like freshened up takes on Nintendo Power 100 with a little with some insights from you as well. The main purpose of that video really was I just needed something that I could make very quickly, because I think, you know, that was when we were like keeping a pretty strict release schedule, like, relatively early on.
How do I do that quickly? How do I do that quick enough?
And you know, I edited it in like a day because I think I was going on vacation.
I know. Can I leave though if I wanted to? Can I leave and go back? Or am I stuck? So okay, I maybe what I'll do is I'll go back out. Can I?
11 o'clock anyway.
Oh, is it? Can I get through this door? I feel like I can't get through this door.
I hope you're not in a.
Well, that's what
I hope you don't quit at a bad point though, because you know you're gonna be busy this week, and then you're going to be traveling a little bit.
Well, what I might do is transfer my save to the Pocket.
Pocket, yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking you might do. Just don't forget your way into this dungeon.
Yeah.
What?
I
mean, you know, if you have to look up a guide because you like lost your kind of lost track of what you were doing in here, you know, it's
exactly.
Yeah, that'd be a great thing to do on your trip.
Yeah, I will do that. And you know, like I have like a little bit of a save, like a little bit into Lufia too, also that I can put on there. Like that seems more approachable, I think. Sometimes than to like really sit down and play it.
Yeah, I feel like an RPG would probably. A turn-based RPG would probably be more fun on the Pocket than this. But, you know, I feel like this is the kind of game, though, where you can lose track of, because it seems like you've got so much freedom to how you explore the world.
Yeah, I don't want to lose.
You don't want to lose track of what you were doing.
Yes. Because I need to start up.
$5 super chat from Container 7 with no comment. By the way. Thank you.
You're making you're saying a lot with that no comment, though. I think I got an hour of capture of this game, though. Oh, there's somebody back here.
Am I remembering right, actually, that Containers? I feel like Container 7's name came up in a user question on a recent DF Direct.
Maybe.
Am I remembering that right, people? It might have been it might have been another stream regular here. I forget. Yes, it was Katera 7. Yeah, I thought it was you. I couldn't remember if it was you or my band. I knew it was one of our regulars. I was like, hey, I know that name.
I think there's probably a lot of overlap.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, the WOLED on Windows question. Do you remember that?
I'm going to load up on these, and then I'm going to save the game. Or stay at the inn, and then save my game, and then I'm going to call it.
Excellent. Is it weird, or is that thing on the right end of the store counter, like it looks, for some reason, like it kind of looks like the back of a Game Boy to me? Like with a game cartridge stuck in it. Anyone else seeing this? I don't know what that's supposed to be. Is it like...
It's like a stone slate.
Pamphlets?
It's like a ledger of some sort. Saying, please stay at this hotel. So this weekend I'm traveling. I got to go to Columbus, which is not far at all. Then I got to go to Akron. I'm gonna see Duke when I'm in Akron.
Oh, nice!
Because he lives up there. And then I got to work in Erie, Pennsylvania on Monday and Akron on Friday. But instead of driving all the way home, like 5 hours on Saturday, then driving 7 hours back on Sunday, I'm gonna kick around around where I grew up, and also like in Buffalo and stuff for the weekend.
Man, I don't think I've seen Duke in person since 2019.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
That's kind of nuts.
I've seen him. I think I saw him at Korg's.
Yeah.
What's amazing to me is that Korg's like happens every year, and they have like guests, and like I feel like they could easily ask me to go to that, and I would go because it's like right there.
Yeah.
They've never asked.
I saw a question earlier that I meant to respond to, but forgot. Asking if we were going to too many games. We're not going to too many games, but we are going to be. I am going to be at Southeast Game Exchange next month.
Yes.
In Greenville, South Carolina, and then both of us will be at the Long Island Retro Gaming Expo in August.
Yes. And that'll be it for cons for this year. Tom Willis, so really quick, Stone Age Gamer is in Salem, Ohio. I don't think that's going to be. I think that's like kind of the other side of the state from like where I'm going to be.
Is there like an actual storefront?
Yeah.
That?
Oh yeah. I've wanted to go. It's like on the. I think it's in the like northwest part of the state. I think, but maybe not. Tom Willis, I grew up in Jamestown, New York.
There was a $5 super chat from Matthew saying, nothing to report this week, just a brave fencer watching the stream. Next week, let's get sponsored and presented by Data East.
Presented by Data East. I always like
I don't know if my cadence or pacing on that is exactly correct, but I'm trying.
Yeah.
Presented by Data East.
It's down 76. Okay, so I'll see how close it is from Akron. I will, because if that's the case, like I will totally go when I'm there. Because I work on Friday in Akron, and then have to check out of my hotel in on Saturday morning. So if it's not that far, then I would totally go and stop in. Dr. Claw, that's cool. That's yep. That's I lived there until I guess until I went away to school in Buffalo, and then I left when I was 24. I guess.
Wait, did you go to the same school as Dr. Claw? What are you talking about? Oh, Dr. Claw. Dr. Claw is a chat person.
Dr. Claw.
I was like, what is the significance of Dr. Claw and where you grew up? What?
Looks like Broken Halo's from there too. Grew up there. Yep. I don't know. I'm not sure how old you are, but I worked at the electronics boutique in the Chautauqua Mall. From I want to say like 1997 until like 2000.
Shy Guy's asking if that's near the Finger Lakes.
Yeah, it's by Lake Erie. Is that,
No,
it's great. It's, Finger Lakes.
Probably not.
I don't know. I don't think.
I went to the Finger Lakes on vacation back in middle school or high school once.
Yeah. When we go to Yellowstone next month, we're going to like the Badlands. You ever been to the Badlands?
Oh, the Badlands rule.
Yeah. And the Grand Tetons.
Grand Tetons is like basically. I mean, it's like basically part of Yellowstone. It's a separate park, but they're like in the same spot. Pretty much.
It's pretty neat because my wife's very good at like,
huh?
My wife's really good at like planning things, but this time she's like kind of like left our schedule open. We just have a place to stay that we like are gonna like take our time like moving towards like each day. Like we were staying at different campsites each day. So we have like an open schedule.
Campsites? Are you're camping?
Well, we have like a camper van that we're going to be driving.
Oh, okay. But you're renting it because you're flying to Denver and then renting, I guess.
Yes. Yeah, we're flying to Denver and we're staying the night at Joe from GameSack's house. And
awesome.
then we're going to go and rent.
I didn't realize that the Badlands were all that accessible from where you're going to be, though, because that's in South Dakota, I think, right? Yeah, the Badlands are awesome. That was like the Badlands was like my first like.
Is that where like the Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade stuff is?
That's Arches.
Okay,
that's Arches. Arches is my favorite national park by far. That's in Utah. Arches is incredible.
Yeah.
But no, Badlands is in North Dakota. It's in South Dakota. I mean, there are many places called Badlands, just as a general term, but like Badlands National Park is South Carolina, or not South Carolina, South Dakota. Because it was a while before I went to North Dakota. And Badlands was like kind of like my first exposure to like to a national park in general, or at least like a national park out west. And I was just like, oh wow, this is kind of awesome. Like I really like, I kind of like the vibe of like just deserts and like weird, interesting, like geological formations.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I like Arches so much, because it's just got just these really cool arches all over the place. But Badlands is just really interesting, just really interesting looking terrain.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Don't go chasing any buffalo though.
Okay. Why is that?
Well, there's buffalo there.
Yeah. They're like, oh, we could have a buffalo burger, though.
I kind of spooked a buffalo. Like I was like behind a fence on one side of the road, and it was like then across the road, and it was behind another fence. So probably not any actual danger, but I was like out trying to get a picture of it, and like I was like kind of moving up, and it was like kind of starting to run and like parallel to the road. So it was like definitely kind of spooked me. That was a long time ago, though. That was I think it was.
People have been getting gored by buffalo. Yeah, I'm not going to get close to them. I just want to pet them. I just want to.
There's like some there's like prairie dog mounds and stuff out there too.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Yeah, Badlands is great. Yellowstone is more famous, but I actually personally like Badlands more. Like I like deserts with cool rock formations.
Yeah, like there's a lot of those there.
There's a lot of that. Yeah.
Cool. I'm looking forward to it. You know, like my wife has put in like a ton of work to plan this because she's like a real planner. Like she's like is so good at doing stuff like that. And for me, it's just like, oh, you know, it's like a year away when she started planning for it. So it's like I don't even think about it. But she's the one like booking all the campsites, and you know, I just said, listen, you just like kind of do what you want to do, like what you think we should do, and we'll just be along for the ride.
I mean that's pretty much how I was, but you know, with my dad playing, I mean, we haven't taken like a big vacation in quite a few years. You know, I don't think my parents are entirely up for anything as ambitious as we used to do anyway. But
well, a big part of this is that you know she really wanted to do it now because like my daughter's like teetering on the edge of like not wanting to do this ever, you know. So this is like kind of like the last chance for her to have an experience like this. To have an experience like this, and also like not want us to like go away the entire time. You know, it's like she's like right there. This is like the last chance.
Yeah. Well, but yeah, I mean, you know, my dad was always like, you know, he was always playing like, okay, you know, he was playing out like, okay, we can do this day, and then we'll travel, you know, this far to this place, which will be a good jumping off point to visit this place the next day, right?
Yep.
You know, so he always plans that stuff out. Yeah, it's been a while, but we had a lot of these national park trips. I mean, I love that stuff. I miss it.
I just want to respond like Broken Halo's like went to the where I worked. I probably have met Broken Halo before. Broken Halo said that they were 13 in 1997. So definitely. I mean, I was there until like 2000. So
blonde hair and glasses.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I worked there like I would say like the first game I ever used my employee discount on was Symphony of the Night. Anyways, I think that's gonna do it. You'll be back next week with somebody else in my seat.
I'll come up with something. I sure as heck am not going to be thinking about it for the next several days though, because oh my gosh, I'm probably busy.
Yeah, get it done. We'll be all right. Thanks to everybody who donated tonight, and I hope everyone has a great week. And I will see everybody in 2 weeks. Yeah. So take care. Bye-bye. Oh, and $2 from Andrew M saying I would really recommend Glacier National Park.
I have been to Glacier once, although I feel like we probably didn't really do it justice the way that probably should have been a place that we spent more time and were able to explore more angles of. But yeah. I have been there. It was cool.
You'll have to go back.
I have an ugly shirt from there.
All right. Good night, everybody.